Hello, bonus content tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon PureRed with me, BlueAnkylo. Today will be a special episode after the actual ending of the game, and I did find the hidden door, so to speak, that I was going to show off last episode and couldn't find. So we're going to finally use the top secret key that we got from the secret Team Rocket lab just outside of Cerulean after becoming the champ. So I know where to put it now. And I will say the only other thing I've really found secret-ish was the reason I still had the normal key card in my inventory was there was one door left in... I've spent a lot of time backtracking. Can't seem to go where I want to go here. There was in the Sylph headquarters in this is impossible. Pressing up and it's going down. But anyway, you in Saffron, there we go. In Saffron in Sylph Co, there was one door I didn't open, and then once I opened it, the item deleted. And also, if you revisit the Sylph Co, there's a couple firefighters that fight you. They're only like level 45 or something, so that's just kind of a nice little touch. But like I said, I've explored like the whole map looking for the secrets, and that's the best I could do. So that got rid of the one key item, and now we're going to get rid of the other key item. And I am also, just for the intro here, at the end of this, once I'm done the little bonus part here, I'm going to spend a little bit of time at the end of the episode going over the moves, sets, changes. I'm going to go through all the Pokemon I leveled up and talk about how I think they are in this Romhack, and just do a little bit of a review of the hack overall. Just kind of a bonus chat, because I've spent a fair bit of time now, far more than I expected actually. So, yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit once I'm done this little secret story bit here. So I was probably on mostly the right track the last time I was in here looking for stuff. The problem was that I just didn't click the right thing. It's definitely a secret, and unless you just randomly click stuff, I don't think you'd ever guess. I couldn't find anyone that talked about it after defeating them, or I couldn't really find any other hints at all, really. So, unless I missed something, you just have to randomly click stuff until you find it. Now, what it does, it was kind of where I expected in the sense that it was in the basement of Cinnabar. Like, the item, remember, if you read the key, it does say, looks like a secret key. Where did you find the secret key? Remember that. Looks worn. What does it open? Maybe a door on Cinnabar Island. Okay, well, we're on Cinnabar Island. There's not too much to check. And basement second floor, well, we've never had a basement second floor, but this is probably the basement first floor. So trying to find a way down was the right idea, even though I couldn't find it last time I was here. So you go, basically, the best I could say, logically, is go to the place where you found the secret key, and you're just going to have to click one of these trees. Now, I don't know if one of them looks slightly different, but I guess, yeah, one of them does look very slightly different. Item Finder won't help you, but can you pick out the one that looks a touch different? This is a detail that I did not notice, and I just clicked them randomly. But this one is slightly bigger hole on the bottom of the tree in the pot. So now there's a staircase. So yeah, maybe you notice that pixel that's a little blacker than blue. Whew, good eyesight if you caught that. Anyway, never been here before. So let's see what happens. What are you doing here, kid? This area's under military jurisdiction. I also brought Mew and Mewtwo because I think you might need them. I don't know. There was something in the patch notes about it. Now, we are the Pokemon champion, and I've also done all the refights at this point. So, I think if you beat the championship is probably when you unlock this area, the first time you regular mode beat the game. That should put you around level 70. But if you keep going and do the refights and re-challenge the 4, that's probably going to put you into the 80s. And to be honest, most of them, I tested out a couple times. Most of the refights now, if I summon, they're at like level 90 plus. I think they just, every time you beat one, they get a level up or something. So we are getting to the point where I need to level up my dudes, or, well, I'm just under-leveled, which is, it's not a big problem, but the enemies are going to hit level 100 pretty soon. So now we're going to defeat the army. Take their money. Commander will just love hearing about this. I mean, I'm pretty famous. Apparently there's lots of soldiers here. Stop! something is for those with top secret level clearance. Well, you better have some level 100 walls to stop me, buddy, because I don't think you're gonna be too successful here. Level 65? Yeah. So, these fights are probably not super threatening, but I'm very curious what's at the end of this secret hallway. Omastar. Actually, we're pretty good with grass here. I mean, it's only... Well, it's not super strong. It's only like a 60 power grass, but... It's quad weak. Anything with a 4 times weakness is pretty much dead. At this high level with stats, yeah, it's a pretty huge weakness. The chief will deal with you. I'm out of here. Alright. How'd you get in here? Blue, eh? You're the champ, aren't you? That civilian title doesn't sway me at all. This is a top secret military investigation. I won't allow you to mess with it. Serious fight. The chief wants to fight. I've never even seen that sprite before. Opens with a Jolteon. You'd think it'd be good against my water type, but it isn't. Alright, I think it's the gym leader fight, right? Or something like that, the music. Let's just Dragon Rage it up, maybe. So put a barrier up, which is half from physical damage. So that would protect it from, like, Earthquake a bit, but... Oh no! Bug attacks. Quit bugging me. I mean, that was neutral, no super effective or weak, and just 10 damage, you know. Kabutops. Bug Rock or something like that. I do think Seadra's a bit overpowered in this generation. If you give them the Water Dragon type with no ability to counter it, really, it's pretty awesome. Sure, we can deal with an Alakazam. One of the spookier Pokemon, for sure, but we've got a pretty big level advantage. I'm not going to worry about setups here. I think we'll just speed this along with some quick sweep. Oh, we're not going to get the kill. Well, let's see what he does. He's just buffing up a little. That's fine. Does Recover have priority? Oh, no, he got the speed up. That's what happened, right? He meditated, which gave him +1 speed, +1 special, which is 50%. And therefore now outspeeds me. So we're kind of stalled here, doing about the same damage he heals. Fine. I wasn't gonna go with, you know, set up strats, but... Alright, so he's fully recovered. Alakazam's such a troll. Alright, this time, you're dead. Nice try. I am enjoying the Fire Ghost quite a lot. Didn't expect that to be so good. Golbat. We don't have Psychic anymore, right? I got rid of all that stuff. It's Flying Poison. We don't really have any great counters here. Let's just see with double special stat. Let's see if we can just kill it. Yeah. Tentacruel. Water Poison. Solar Beam is very, very strong, although cool-looking Tentacruel, I gotta say. It's only neutral. Resist, neutral... What's Barrage's... Barrage might be neutral, but would get stabbed. Not quite enough, but it's okay. Well, it could Hydro Pump me, yeah. But I've got a lot of special. Yeah, even with that, it's not too much. Special stat up Amnesia is a little bit, you know, just a little bit overpowered in this gen. Alright. Well, blow me down. This kid's strong. Surge wasn't lying when he said you had potential. He's always had a good eye for quality soldiers. That's why I made him a lieutenant. Well, do what you must. We haven't opened the door yet. Maybe you can figure it out. Well, this kid's Pokemon are too strong, so I'm gonna let the 10-year-old investigate the top secret military research facility. Uh-oh. It's a puzzle. Oh, well, I don't know. Hopefully there's no random encounters. So, that's shooting stars. Basically just a scale going down, right? Like 7 notes. That probably like is like the reset button. So what is it? I have to copy the music that we're hearing here. But I don't know, man. I'm terrible at trying to copy this kind of stuff from like music puzzles. I mean, I feel like this part is part of it. That part sounds right. Well, this sucks, because I have no idea how to guess this, unless I can find the, I mean, there's too many combinations with 8 buttons. There's no way you're gonna just bust it through. Let me just double check. I didn't expect there to be a puzzle here that I was gonna try to solve live. I don't suppose there's a, when I downloaded the game, it didn't come with like a secret, like, okay, you suck, you're dumb, here's how you solve the puzzle. PureRed readme. Let me see. Learn sets, TM locations. So there's a lot of information in. There's a readme that comes with it. Full features documentation. I'm pretty sure that's what I've been looking at. That's the tab I got open there. Features.md. Yeah. There is a list of all the move sets, which might be relevant for my little talk here coming up, but that's not going to help. Well, sorry guys, this is definitely not what I expected for today's episode. I'm just looking at the link here. Hidden item locations, learn set, stat changes. There were some stat changes. Interesting. But I don't want like features. I want to know the solution to the puzzle. Like, I don't want to sit here live. Problem is, it's like post-game. This is the kind of stuff that people like to hide, right? Because they want people to try it out and solve it then naturally. But I'm not seeing this. So this sucks because there's like some last little puzzle here, and I'm just in the middle of like, I have no idea how to figure it out. I assume there's some musical solution, of course, but trying to copy a Game Boy, like, I don't even know where to start. I'm sorry guys. I'm trying real hard to find the solution quick here, but it's not looking good. It's not in the main dock. Start searching for puzzles now. No. Just double checking. There's actually a wiki for this Romhack that I didn't know about. I hadn't looked at it yet. It has a lot of information, like hidden items and stuff like that. But other than looking up the code for all the hidden items, in-game trades, game corners, trainer team lists, Pokemart data, wild Pokemon moves data, level learn set, evolution levels, stats. Yeah, that's not gonna do what I need here. Well, gee whiz, I had a plan for this episode, and here we are. I mean, you also, like, I don't know where it would even start with the track, right? Because now it's got like an echo. Like, it's pretty simple. I just... Yeah, I mean... I don't even really know where it starts and where it ends in terms of... Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, with these kind of random puzzles... I assume this is like the on-off or the reset or something, but I don't know if I need to... I don't even know if that's right. No, not even, I don't even... I think this is the right opener. Maybe. But after that, I have no idea. I lose it. Because it's definitely down, and then it's like an upwards. And then it's lower, but going up. But I don't know if that's even close. I mean, I could be off by a couple, right? I think it's downwards, upwards, and then resets lower and then rolls up, but I don't know. That could be... That sound better? Okay, so we'll try then the highest, and then the middle. I don't know. This is really frustrating. Sorry, guys. It's definitely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 altogether notes, right? Like, it's gotta be... I think I've got it. It might actually go down here, too. Or something like that, right? I don't know if I'm just dumb. Like, doesn't even sound like that's the right one. I don't know. This is going nowhere fast. Okay. No. I lose it completely after that first. I feel like the first two are the only ones I know. No. And it could be skipping notes, too. I'm just doing it the lazy way. Okay, well, I'm just going to say I quit. This actually is super frustrating, and I'm not happy about it at all. If the ROM hacker ever watches this, sorry, this is just way too hard for me to figure out. I'm really annoyed that there's a neat little secret at the end, but I have no idea, and there's too many notes to just random guess it on stream like this, and I don't have the patience to try it any longer. That was enough. So maybe put a secret spoiler in one of the notepads or something for people who are dumb like me. I think is probably the solution if you're gonna add a cool puzzle. Anyway, we're gonna forget about whatever that was, and I'm just gonna talk about. At least I showed you guys where to go. You guys just have to figure out the puzzle. I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about my experience with the Romhack. So what I've done is, I have leveled everything up to 50. I've been doing it kind of in the background while I've been, while we've been, you know, in between episodes, basically. So what I'm gonna do is go through the list. Although I might speed it up. Why does my button not work? This emulator sucks. I'm just gonna actually speed things up so I can go through the menu quicker, but it's fine. So I want to talk about sort of the learn sets, the move sets that the new changes are. I'm gonna focus more on like the changed Pokemon and sort of what they seem like for me, and some of the new moves. So we spent lots of time during the Let's Play talking about some of the changes to the moves. I think overall it's well done. You know, it's added quite a lot more like poison and bug attacks for Generation 1. It's removed some of the bad accuracy ones. There's fewer, you know, miss ones. There's a couple I'm not a huge fan of. I think like Explosion and Self-Destruct are still too punishing for you to use, but still really annoying for the enemy to use. Especially because they can take advantage of Stab for it now, rather than just be normal or whatever. I'm not a huge fan of those two. But other than that, I haven't really thought of anything too annoying. There's a lot of enemies with the 100% statuses, like Glare and Spore. A lot more than in Vanilla, which is a bit frustrating. And too many... A lot of trainers that just sort of force you into using full heals, which just sort of slow everything down, I find. But overall, it's good. I mean, you know, there's a standard problem of 90%. I don't think it's the ROM hack's fault, but anything that's not 100% just... it's gonna miss and then you kill yourself. Well, for the ones with recoil like that, that's a classic gamble. I just don't like that kind of gamble. But yeah, Glare there is the 100% paralyzed, which I did not enjoy very much. There's so many enemies with it. I was definitely surprised by some of the more powerful moves, like Egg Bomb being a 100 power dragon that a lot of Pokemon use. I think there are maybe some additions here that add off types to Pokemon that I don't necessarily agree with. Maybe it makes them more balanced or fair, but there's a lot of fire Pokemon that learn Swift, which is now an ice move, and there's a lot of coverage that I don't know how to predict, I guess. And maybe it's like that in future gens. I'm not an Pokemon expert, but I do remember being annoyed by some Pokemon having what I consider attacks outside of their normal type. Not just their stabs, but you know, it's farther away than I think I would have expected. Therefore, they caused me a lot of trouble. And maybe that's fine, but some of those things I thought were a little rude. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, you know, I think maybe in hindsight, as I've played further on, like Petal Dance was buffed. That's pretty strong. But I think Amnesia is actually maybe a bit too strong in this version. Because a lot of Pokemon can learn it, and special is, you know, one stat, and being able to upgrade it, you know. I didn't realize at first that one stage was 50%, 2 stages was 100% boost. So the fact that you can get 100% special attack and defense in one move, and not just rarely, like a lot of Pokemon can learn it, like a ton. So it kind of gives you a huge advantage over the AI that usually can't figure that out. And as we saw against the rematches there, usually once you've got someone with +6 special, there's very little anything can do to counter you. So yeah, I mean that's fine, but it's maybe a little bit too strong. Just the availability of the +2 special. Maybe you should only get a +1 special, you know. And Swords Dance is good, but you don't get the physical defense as well, right? But yeah, that's kind of my general move thing. I think overall the move changes are great. I like the fact that, you know, the HMs are deletable. They're generally pretty useful in the mid game, except Surf, which is good forever. But the other 4 are at least good for a while. Strength is still probably the most reliable, learnable fighting move. There's stronger ones, but there's no TM for Mega Punch. So Strength is kind of the best you get if you want to teach it. If you want 100% accuracy anyway. I kind of wish there was a TM for some other fighting moves. I've talked about that a little bit too, but back in... you can buy all 50 TMs now after beating the game. And as far as I can see, there is no TM for anything other than... any fighting move other than... I think it's high jump kick with the 90% or something. One of the 90% fighting moves, which is kind of annoying. But, you know, you've got the HM for strength, which is 80, I think, which is definitely good. But anyway, that's my sort of moveset. I think overall the moveset's totally fine. I'm really glad there's Static Fang for electric and Dustclaw for ground. A lot of those are uncontroversial. I already, in general with the Romhack, I already quite enjoy the accessibility of Pokemon, catching all 150, the upgrades to enemy trainers and stuff. That's all good. So I just want to talk about the moves, and then mostly I want to talk about some of the Pokemon and sort of how I grade them in this Romhack, because I didn't get a chance to use them all very much. But I want to talk a little bit about each of them for a minute, or a little short time each, basically. And I'll spend a lot more time on the ones that are different, or uniquely different. So I've actually sorted them by Pokedex, mostly. I made 2 mistakes, but mostly we're going in order. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time. This was our starter. You know, Venusaur's great. Static Snag is a nice add with electric coverage. I still think overall the move pool, and I'm not, again, I'll just set this right at the beginning. I'm not going to consider what they can learn really via HM or TM, because that's a level that I didn't get into. And I only leveled them up to 50. So some of them do learn kind of their ultimate move in the mid-50s. Oftentimes that's where you'll get Solar Beam or, you know, Mega Punch, stuff like that. The best of the best, as far as I've learned, seems to be in the mid-50s, unless you're like a legendary bird that joins at 50 and then you learn it maybe 60, 70. But most things that I've leveled up did stop learning moves after the mid-50s, and that was about their last good one. So I'm not going to really worry about, you know, their final moves, and I'm not really worried about what they can learn via TM or HM, because for the most part, all of them in the end game with right TMs or HMs, you can turn them into pretty viable movesets. So what I'm really comparing here is, as you play through the game, are they worth bringing along? Because we've had some good examples, like our Dodrio, our God Bird, who learned all kinds of crazy good moves, great coverage, great stats, great type, and carried us most of the game. And maybe isn't the best in the end, because he still has 4 times weak to ice or whatever, but overall was real good and learned amazing moves. And then we had, we tried to use things like Beedrill, which basically until level 16 or 17 had nothing. So if you're actually trying to use them, they have a huge stretch of the game where they're basically trash. And then, you know, Twin Needle made it a lot better at that point, but it still didn't get a lot of other moves. Like, it didn't have that great coverage of other types. So what I'm really talking about is what they learn, how early they learn it, and how useful they are. Now, unfortunately, I didn't know when I was planning this out that there happens to be a wiki that shows all of the learn sets for these Pokemon. So I'm going to see if I can pop these up while I go through them. I also don't know specifically the difference between if they're evolved or not, because that's one of the things, right? They generally learn moves a little early level if they're unevolved. But that's the kind of thing in a Romhack that normally you'd literally never know unless you're... like, I don't know how you'd ever know. I'm just trying to see how I would figure this out. So I'm just looking at the code here in a Venusaur, right? There's a list of all the TMs and HMs it can learn and what moves it learns. But it doesn't have anything in its learn set. It's got like catch rate, its type, its base stats. It's got tackle, growl at level 1. It grows medium slow for experience. It can learn a bunch of TMs. But nothing to do with what it learns on level up. But it definitely learns Solar Beam on level up. So maybe it only looks at the low level one rather like the final evolve. Maybe it looks at the first level evolve. Like maybe there isn't no difference between their evolved state. So let me double check Bulbasaur in my list here, because maybe that will be... If I can just tell you... yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to read what level it learns what. I can definitely see all the stats for these things. But when does it actually learn anything? That's what I wanted to see. Boy, this is... Nothing is working the way I thought it would. That's base stats. There's so much information in this place. Dex entries, orders, evil moves. Pokemon data cons. If you're trying to follow along, boy, is it complicated to read exactly all the movesets in these things. It's not like a nice Wikipedia where you can just easily look at them. I'm pretty sure the data is here somewhere. It's just taking me a lot longer to find it than I thought. Okay, I see this file that I found here does have, I think, what I'm looking for, but boy, is this kind of hard to follow along with. Okay, there you go, Venusaur. So this might be... Okay, it's got the Ivysaur moveset, just for interest. Ivysaur learns Solar Beam at level 46. I finally got it, guys. Venusaur loses Solar Beam at 50. Okay, yeah. So I think you could follow kind of standard old school Pokemon logic where they probably learn things a little earlier level if you don't bother evolving them, but they get all the stats if you level them up, if you evolve them early. Okay, that's fine. So it depends on when you evolve them, you might have different things. But my point is, Venusaur, as a summary, mostly gets grass moves. It gets Static Snag instead of Constrict, compared to Vanilla. And but for most of the game, it's just dealing with Vine Whip up to Razor Leaf, which is not super strong, and a couple status effects and Solar Beam. So like overall, I think not much has changed about Venusaur. I still don't think it's very good. We got to really speed up if I'm going to get through these. I'm going to have to just use a Control F thing here to find the learn set for these in a quick order here. But we're going to go Charizard. Alright, so my Charizard, again, I got it to level 50. My Real Mander. I didn't use them a whole lot, but from what I can see, as far as if you want to bring him along, I actually don't think the starters are very good comparatively. Like, they didn't get much of a buff, and their movesets, their learning movesets are still pretty weak. The plus side is Charizard gets Dust Claw, which is a nice ground type coverage. It's weak, but it's definitely nice at a low level to get him going. So he's got Ember and ground covered pretty early on. He does get Heat Rush, which is the mid-tier fire one in the mid-levels before Flamethrower. So you can expect, you know, normal, good... He's got the good fire coverage. He gets Flamethrower and all that. He gets Slash, which is strong. He gets Rage, which is Dragon. He gets okay coverage, maybe slightly better than Vanilla, but no flying moves. Not really very great alternate coverage. I still think, honestly, the starters at this point still not that great. Although I will say, I think I saw Blastoise was generally better. This is going to take a little longer than I expected. It's fine. Just settle in. We're just going to talk about these Pokemon. I'm going to spend more time on the newer ones, but I'm just getting used to this this system I'm doing here. So the good news for Blastoise is he does get some cool stuff. Drain Punch is fighting self-heal. That was a really nice add-on. It's relatively high level, but that's cool. Withdrawal lets him boost his defense. He's got all the water moves. Although, like, no one learned Surf naturally. I'm just assuming you're probably going to teach your water Pokemon Surf. So I'm gonna personally replace Hydro Pump with Surf on everybody. I don't like Hydro Pump with the mischance. That's just a water-specific thing. None of them learn Surf in this one. The best other water move would be Waterfall, which is a bit weaker, and Hydro Pump, which is stronger but misses. But, you know, Blastoise learns all that stuff. He's got Skull Bash, which is a recoil rock attack, which is interesting, and Drain Punch for a self-heal, which is a good combo for a recoil attack. So I actually think of the three, Blastoise might have the best learning moveset. He's still just pure water, so there's only so much you can do. But I think he got like a couple nice moves, so that's a perk for using him. We've got the bug, or sorry, our first bug, which is Butterfree. And I think this might be our first, I have to double check here. I have a list of all the type changes. Maybe this one's not changed. Hopefully they're in order there or something. Okay, so this looks like, no, Bug Psychic is new. It used to be, what, Bug Flying or something? So there's a slight change to this one. I didn't really use it because I've used it a lot in the past, although adding Psychic typing certainly is going to make it... okay, now I'm really confused. This is just a learning episode with this Ankylo. It's usually Bug Flying. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's got Bug Psychic, which I'd say is probably an upgrade. And it does learn, like, the good Psychic moves. I'm pretty sure I didn't teach it. Yeah, it learns Psychic on its own. Leech Life is a bug attack that's way stronger and drains, so that's cool. It can learn Fly, so you can still give it the Flying type with HM if you want. Mist is a Cleanse. That's the highest level one it's got. It's got a couple flying attacks. It's got all the basic Psychic attacks. It's got the status attacks. It's not much different than vanilla, but it gets Stab Psychic. So I think it's improved, but there's not a whole lot to talk about for the moveset, because it's mostly the same as normal. Just a little bit of flying with Psychic. And there's much more powerful bug moves now. So, but keeping in mind that its physical stat's bad. So bug attacks are still going to use its attack stat rather than its special stat. And therefore, it's going to have a bit of a hard time. Even though Leech Life is really good. It's like 75 power drain, you know. So that's good. Oops. Oh, jeez. I totally just... I need to not do that because it messes up my whole inventory system. Let's look at Beedrill here. If your favorite's in the list, we'll get there. I tried to use Beedrill a lot. I was not a fan of this one. Stats are okay. I don't think it's changed. Bug Poison... Let me go through my list here. Hold on. You'd think I'd know about it. No, Bug Poison's the same as always, so that's nothing new. The main problem I had with it was that it took too long to learn a new move. Technically, at level 17, it gets Wing Attack, but no Stab. And that's when, like, it doesn't have any really attacks at all until level 17. So it has a hard time getting there if you're using him. Wing Attack certainly will help. And then it gets Acid at 19, which is a medium tier poison attack, which is okay. But it's not till level 22 where it gets Twin Needle, which is where it actually gets pretty strong. And then after that, it's fine. It gets a bunch of flying attacks. It's got Pin Attack eventually. It's got Drill Peck is good. Spike Cannon is rock, which is like one of the best rock moves in the game. So like eventually, like if you're just looking at them at the end of the game, it does end up fine. But there's a big gap I found when I was using him, because you can recruit him super early, where he's sort of just useless until at least around level 20, 22. So I gave him a big thumbs down personally, you know. All right, let's keep going here. We're speeding up a little bit. So then we got our Pidgeot. Good old Pidgeot here. I didn't use this much because it's not changed too much, I don't think. Normal flying is the same as always. It's usually your starter bird that I specifically avoided because, you know, he's kind of boring and average. I actually never replaced strength on him when I was grinding him, right? So not a lot of changes there. Wing Attack is a priority flying attack. Now he gets pretty early. And he does get a flying attack much earlier than it used to, I think. Gust is flying rather than normal. So he gets some upgrades. He certainly gets a better early game flying. Still has the annoying sand attack. He's got... I don't know if there's much new. Skull Bash is rock, right? So that's good. Apparently, if we keep using him, he'll learn Whirlwind and Hyper Beam. And he does get Stab normal, so that's certainly an option, but it's pretty high level. I still think overall Pidgeot is pretty boring. Lowish stats. Normal flying is not particularly interesting. Even though it gets... For coverage, it does get rock. It gets Skull Bash, which is the recoil rock. And it gets a lot of really powerful wind moves, but not much else. So I definitely don't consider that a high-value Pokemon in this one. We also have the Rat. So we'll do the Rat quick. I say quick, I mean this is going to take as long as it takes. It's going to take longer than I originally planned, basically. So Raticate, your basic normie joins early on. He did learn Mega Punch at like level 44, and that's really cool. But that's a very high level. So what's he gonna do in the early game? He's just gonna do normal stab, bite. Hyper Fang has got a good point where it's strong. He's got double kick for fighting, which helps. But as usual, there's really not a lot of coverage. Rage does a little bit of dragon damage, nothing really strong, but it's a self attack up. Skull Bash is your recoil rock move that it seems like a lot of Pokemon get, like normal types get that. He does have Super Fang, which is 66% of their max HP damage, or maybe current HP, I forget how that works. I didn't keep Super Fang, because Mega Punch was way better, and Rage is an attack up. I don't know if he's really better than normal, but like he learns moves at about the right time, I guess, is the kind of thing. The difference between this thing and Beedrill is he actually keeps learning moves that can kill stuff as you play the game. I found Beedrill just had, like, it's early game up to Gym 2, but you know, the idea here is you've got a lot more access to these Pokemon early on. So if you can't use them when you find them, then what are you going to do? Let's go Fearow. I know there was some people, we're not actually streaming in case you're wondering. Fearow was definitely the favorite of some people in chat. So they added fighting here. So it used to be normal flying, very similar to Pidgeot, except generally Fearow had better stats and moves than the Pidgey line. So I generally consider this the better of the two birds. And I think it's still true, although there's a third bird to mix in. But of the first two starter birds, I think the Fearow line has actually improved a lot. Fighting plus flying is not bad. It gets Earth, it gets the Duskclaw ground attack early on, wing attack for flying, it's got submission, not even super high level, like level 22. So it's got some nice fighting, like a really strong fighting move pretty early on. It does technically get stuff like Mirror Move that I don't have here, because I don't like doing Mirror Move. It's kind of a gimmicky thing, so I'm not a huge fan of that. But it does get Sky Attack, which is very strong, maybe the strongest flying move. Spike Cannon, so it's got a really strong, like, rock. Like, the coverage here is great. Fighting, flying, rock, and ground. Now, Duskclaw is not the strongest, but I just wanted to keep it on his moveset to show you that, like, hey, even though you get it early on, just having access to a ground move is really nice. I don't know what his TM set is. Like I said, I didn't really go through all that, but I think Fearow is definitely an improvement on the original one. So that's cool. Now we're into some cool stuff here. I had a lot of fun leveling up Arbok. I didn't expect to enjoy leveling up Arbok, because this is another one of those, there's a lot of Pokemon I've never really used. Part of this adventure was using a bunch of Pokemon I've never tried before. Arbok did great. It's only poison, which doesn't give it much stab. Like, he's got Filthy Slam, which is not even the strongest. Like, the strongest poison move in this hack is Sludge, actually, for just high accuracy. But Leech Life is bug and really good. He got Mega Drain for grass, Skull Bash for rock. And just that combo I found actually quite good. He had Static Snag as well early on. I did replace it eventually. But early game access to electric, normal, grass, and then into poison at higher levels, which isn't that important. Leech Life at a fairly high level, but compared to like the bugs. But still, I actually thought this guy had a pretty good moveset. I would say in this hack, probably a fair bit better than vanilla. He does learn Haze if you keep leveling up, so keep that in mind if you want to go higher. But Haze isn't that important. That's just status cleanser, basically, mostly. I guess immunity to Psychic, which is kind of neat. Covers a weakness, right? So yeah, I'd say Arbok did a great job. Overhyped. So here we are, some of the banned Pokemon that I didn't use. I did level them up, and you know, I don't expect we don't really spend a ton of time here. Raichu has always been very much Thunderbolt, 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 maybe Thunder. In newer games, the Pikachu line gets a lot of love, and they get some custom unique moves as well, right? They got their the baby one gets like a unique physical lightning or something, but anyway, there's really, I don't think there's anything really new here. It does get Duskclaw for ground coverage, which is new, but other than that, it's very basic. I do see here, looking at the list, if you get into a little bit higher, level 52, he does learn Swift, so you can add Ice to his coverage, and that would probably have replaced the Strength, because normally I'm not counting HMs, right? But yeah, it's basically just Thunderbolt, or ground attack, a weak ground attack, and eventually Swift. So, you know, it's really, I'd say that's pretty standard, nothing really new there. I have a feeling most of the changes in this ROM hack benefit the weaker Pokemon. And this is one that I believe got actually quite the bonus. So Sand Slash. Let's see here. Go down to Sand Slash. Yeah, I mean, obviously this has always been a physical ground. I think Normal got added in here. That's one of the changes. So this gives him like a bit of a weakness to fighting, but immunity to ghost. Doesn't change a whole lot, but it does give him Stab Slash, which was kind of his signature deal here. So Slash does a lot of damage and it crits a lot. My main problem actually with this combo, you can see my mouse, right? Is I think it's a bug because they changed it in future editions, but moves with crits, high crit rate, you lose your own status up buffs when you crit. So if you go double, triple, quadruple attack power, and then you get a high crit move and get a crit, it ignores your attack up and just uses your basic plus a crit, which is still a crit, but you know, I feel like it's kind of a bug. I don't know if the ROM hackers for Gen 1 could fix that or if they would want to fix that, but that was one of my problems with this type of Pokemon where they had they tended to have a bunch of high crit moves and also attack ups, but they don't really synergize very well because one undoes the other. So then I don't know. I just found that was kind of annoying. But overall, I thought Sandslash had some great moves. He does have a couple bug moves. He had Pin Missile and then Twin Needle, which is I think the best of the bug moves. Sword Dance is amazing, as we shouldn't have to explain. Earthquake's amazing. Slash is pretty awesome. You could teach him a flying move, so if you don't like bugs, he's got Fury Attack for flying. So I think he's got actually great coverage. Like, pretty happy with good old Sandslash. I would say this is, of the people I regret using, Arbok and Sandshrew are actually pretty high on my list of, wow, I wish I'd used those guys. And you'll see as we go through, some of them I'm like, wow, this is way better than I thought. Moving on to Nidoqueen here, trying to keep moving. Nidoqueen, I think her moveset I think is a bit worse than Nidoking. Poison Ground I believe is standard for these guys. Let me just double check my list here. But yeah, Poison Ground is the standard for the King and Queen. And the real big upgrade is stuff like Dizzy Punch, which I think is quite a lot stronger, like a nice powerful fighting move. It does learn at a higher level than we got at Submission, so you do get the kind of standardized attack up fighting move at level 54 here. So that would have been nice to add into the moveset at pretty high levels. But early on, good moves. Lots of it's got Dust Claw early on. Double Kick is great. Bite, Body Slam, Filthy Slam for poison. I think that's one of the weaker ones because not really much is weak to poison. But this is a massive physical attacker, and it has great coverage. So Earthquake, Drill Peck for flying, Dizzy Punch for fighting. Even if you don't count the poison attack as particularly good, you could slop on Acid Armor, which is 2 stages of defense up. That was one that we could have learned and was really good. I tended to go with coverage more than stat ups early on. This is one of the ones I leveled up earlier. As I got further on in my grinding, I was like, no, I should always reserve one of these moves for some kind of status or effect, and just to give them, like, I like having 4 attacks for max versatility. But honestly, in terms of usefulness in a tough trainer battle, you probably want to keep some stat up. And being able to up your defense is not bad. So that's Nidoqueen. Nidoking is not going to be vastly different. I think he's a little bit more offensive, a little bit less special. But he gets Horn Drill, and I think it's the bad one, right? That's the chance to insta-kill. It's 30% chance to just kill, one-shot KO. If you like that sort of thing, cool. I just learned it to try it out, but honestly, it was probably worse than whatever I replaced, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, the moveset here is very similar. He gets Drain Punch instead of Dizzy Punch, which is better. I would say self-healing is better than confusing the enemy. Earthquake is always good. Fury Attack is flying. Horn Drill was a mistake. But he did have, what was it? Horn Attack, which is rock, but there wasn't really any good replacement for it. He didn't get like Spike Cannon or any of the really strong rock attacks. So I actually think Nidoqueen and Nidoking are kind of boring in this ROM hack, and I think it's because they were already quite good in the base game. He does learn Poison Gas at level 57 if you want a poison move that is okay. I'm not too excited about stuff like that. We're almost done the first box. Shave Knot, our Wigglytuff, right? I might have missed, I think Clefairy is out of order, so if you're keeping track, I did mix up a couple here accidentally. This is another one of those normal types that I've really not got any experience with. I guess it's not a Clefairy. I need to look at Clefable. Clefable. And sometimes, you know, like I've said before, I don't really know what their natural movesets would be. So I'm really just talking about how they are in this hack. But I will say, you know, this guy's stats are pretty bad, right? Most of the stuff we see on Clefable here is support. So you've got like Metronome, which is a random move. It's got the light screens. It's got Mimic. Mimic is actually pretty good because you can choose the move rather than just copying like mirror moves. Got Lovely Kiss. It does learn, I think I removed it at some point. It can learn Petal Dance. It actually has a crazy variety of stuff. But I don't know. Or sorry, I'm looking at Clefable. I'm supposed to be looking at sorry. I do mix these up a lot. Sorry. Forget everything that. I was talking about the wrong one. We're looking at Wigglytuff specifically right now with the bad stats. It's very similar in that mostly it's got Lovely Kiss, it's got Recover, Double Edge, Explode. It's got a bunch of weird stuff. You know, at level 60 it learns Minimize for the evade up. I don't really know the niche for something like this. It seems like a normal type that's kind of boring. So I'm glad I didn't use it. I couldn't tell you if it was better or worse than vanilla. I'm just going to skip it and move along. Regular Bat, Poison Flying. I think this guy had some upgraded moves that I was pretty happy with. It is a, what is it? Golbat, yeah. Another Pokemon I don't normally think about much. But its moveset, like, it's got some flying stuff. It's got Fighting. It learns Submission at level 36, which is nice. It's got Sword Dance, which is a classic. Leech Life, which is way stronger than it used to be, so it can heal itself. It's got probably the strongest poison attack with Sludge, if you like that. Or you could have taught it Skull Bash for a rock attack with Recoil, which is a good option. It also learns Super Fang and Poison Gas and Haze at levels I didn't get it to. But I would say the moveset right now is good. You know, Leech Life, Swords Dance is already a great combo. Double your attack power or more, and heal yourself when you attack things. Like, that is great. Fighting gives you attack up. Swords Dance also, but it's fine. Everything's physical. Its stats aren't really high enough to get huge advantage out of it, but I think Zubat would be usable. Definitely a decent moveset. Not the best coverage, like we don't get a ton of alternate type attacks, but alright, we're moving on to our Vileplume. This is one that messed us up when we were fighting Erica the first time. And honestly, I don't know, its special is decent, its speed is terrible. I don't actually think there's a whole lot different in this version as far as I can see. Psychic, I don't know if it probably doesn't normally learn Psychic. So Psychic is a nice, strong sort of coverage kind of move. Petal Dance is definitely buffed significantly. Growth is the special up one stage plus healing. And then Nightshade gives it a ghost attack. So that's cool. There's probably some changes there. It doesn't have a poison attack right now. It did learn Sludge. So if you want a poison attack, that's fine. But I generally feel like there's better stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. It can learn Poison Gas at higher levels. I think mainly you wanna double down on maybe special attack up with growth, heal a little bit, and then just Petal Dance to victory. But Grass isn't like the most effective offensive attacker, so it's not that important. Now this guy, I wanted to mention this. This is one of those ones that's changed a little bit. Does it have a different typing? I definitely want to talk about the Parasect. Buggrass is the same as always, but either I never used it before, which is true, or there's some really cool new moves in this guy's moveset here. So obviously the bug attacks are much stronger. It does have Leech Life early on, which is really good actually. With Stab and a decent physical, Leech Life is great. I did replace it with Twin Needle at like level 49, but you might just keep Leech Life, which is slightly less damage, but self-healing is great. But it's got, look at the coverage here. We've got Solar Beam for Stab, Amazing Grass, Static Snag Electric, Earthquake for Ground. It could also have Growth for the special attack up if you wanted the extra support kind of move. It could learn Spore, which is the 100% put to sleep. It also has access to Barrage, probably the best ghost attack if you want to do more special damage. it has a crazy good moveset. Like, I would say, of the ones we've been talking about, this guy got buffed pretty significantly with cool moveset. Basically, great coverage. I think his stats are not amazing. Speed is very slow. Specials, not great. But a lot of times, just having the right moves with super effective or quad effective is all you need. And he's got a lot of moves to work with, and that really helps. Okay, this is another one we didn't use very much of. Venomoth. Let's see here. Bug Poison, I'm assuming is normal. Yeah, that's normal for sure. And yeah, anybody that has Stab, Leech Life is definitely stronger than you'd expect. But yeah, it's got some cool stuff, right? Heat Rush is the mid-tier, not quite flamethrower fire move, which is great. It's got Psybeam, which is, I think it's got a whole bunch of mid-tier alternate move options. You could learn Wing Attack for a flying move if you want, which is not super strong, but it is priority. It learns like Pin Missile if you don't want to use Leech Seed. It's got all the powders and spores as usual for poison, sleep, and I think paralysis as well. Yeah, stun, sleep, and poison. It does learn Dream Eater Sleep Powder combo if you want, but Sleep Powder is only like 75%, so yeah, if you like it. Heat Rush was a pretty high level, so don't expect that early on. It does learn Sky Attack at level 53, so it's even got a better flying attack to swap in. Maybe get rid of Sludge, maybe, because it doesn't help much, but Sky Attack would be cool. I think it's not something to be excited about, but an interesting bug type anyway. Certainly Leech Life is better significantly. You could probably make him work, but I don't know. Bug Poison has quite a few weaknesses, Alright, Dig Dug. I don't think there's much to say about this one. I think this is just your pure ground. Very little else to talk about. Dug Trio. Diglett, Dug Trio. Yeah, so it's got access to the earlier Dustclaw, which is nice at lower levels. Does give it a little bit more of a ground move early on, and then Dig, and eventually Earthquake. It's got some nice physical moves, Slam and Slash, if you want to just do normal, which is not a bad idea. Fury Attack for flying is actually quite the surprise. So you've got ground and flying, and it can learn Fissure, which is the other one-shot KO move, I believe. And at higher levels, like 54. And then at 59, it's Submission. So Strength would be replaced with a natural fighting move eventually. So yeah, ground, normal, flying, fighting. Again, it's kind of standard. It's only got one type. It's a bit boring like that. It's not the kind of thing I'm super excited about, but it's got a decent moveset, I believe I was quite impressed with Greed Cat, actually, as I was doing my leveling. I don't use a lot of normal types, but this is a fast normal type, which I thought was better than a lot of the slow tanky ones, right? For the way I play. So fast with good physical attack. A bit on the frail side. So Persian, and again, I'll just look up its learn level so I'm not totally making stuff up here. It actually starts with that Ghost Lick attack, which is weird. Not super useful, but interesting anyway. Good against, like, Psychics. It also has access to Dustclaw early on, Bite, Double Kick. Like, it's got, unlike the problem with Beedrill, right? This guy has a lot of coverage early on, even though Ghost, Ground, Normal, Fighting isn't necessarily the best combo, but its first 4 moves are all good. Then in the mid-tier, it starts upgrading them to, like, Headbutt for normal, Fury Attack for flying. It does get Mirror Move if you like that sort of thing. Skull Bash for rock. And if I got a few more levels up, we'd get Slash, which would probably replace Headbutt. We'd have a stronger normal attack. But it is kind of missing one. So, like, Strength was still an HM that I used to kill Chanseys, basically. I'm not sure what... I mean, it could have Double Kick still, but Double Kick, it doesn't really have an upgrade to it, really. So maybe you want to throw in a Mirror Move or something. I don't know. If you're trying to use its natural learn set. But I'd say overall, pretty good. Just might be missing, like, one more awesome move for me to love it. And our last one in this box is... Right, the Beedrill. Did I already talk about this guy? Right, we already talked about him because I took him out. Alright, we're getting there. This is going to be a chill, chatty episode. Whatever, it's fine. I'm enjoying it. I'm sure some of you are interested. Somebody is. One of you definitely is interested. You're waiting to see your favorite Pokemon. Alright, let's keep going. We're at Golduck here. There's a lot of Water Psychic. This one's not the worst. I would say he's probably better than Slowbro, at least. So, if there's a problem with Golduck, is his stats are pretty average. You know, everything is the same, which means he's not really special. Like his stat total is very evenly spread out, which means he doesn't really focus on any one thing. He's just kind of a jack of all trades. Water, Psychic are both special, so he's probably not getting a lot of value out of his physical attack generally. So that tends to be like a bit of a downside as far as I'm concerned. I taught him Surf, of course. He does learn Hydro Pump, so, you know, you don't have to worry about Surf if you don't like those, but I don't know why. But yeah, he gets all the water moves, probably a little slower than other water Pokemon, like higher levels. Like he doesn't learn Waterfall till 32, and he doesn't learn Hydro Pump till 56, so he's not like a main water. But he does get the Amnesia combo, which is great. Anyone that can learn Amnesia and be Special Attacker can probably work. He did have access to Low Kick, a fighting move, and some of the variety of protection ones, like Reflect and Disable and Teleport. He's got a bunch of those. He's got Swift for Ice, he's got a bunch of water attacks, and Psychic. So I thought it's kind of your standard water Psychic special with water, ice, and Psychic attacks. I mean, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. He learns Meditate at level 60 if you don't like Amnesia. Meditate gives him attack up, speed, and special, but Amnesia with +2 special is probably better. At least as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, Golduck, you know, I think we're kind of in there's a lot of water types, but you know, he's okay. The Monkey, the Mankey. This might be my vote for worst fighting type in this gen, honestly. I've never really found a good use for him. And when I was leveling up, I still didn't really see anything special about him. He's not that fast. His standard weakness to special and defense. He's very glass cannon-y, but doesn't get enough to really impress me. You know, Drain Punch, like I've said, probably my favorite fighting move overall, just for sustainability. Maybe not the best against trainers, like gym leaders or whatever. But when you're just running through the environment, sustainable healing is great. He mostly just gets a lot of fighting moves, right? He's got Thrash if you want to do normal, you know, and then get confused. Vice Grip is... Bug? This is one I haven't used much. Yeah, mid-tier bug move. It's good. Paralyze. It's about the same power as Leech Life. It's not the strongest damaging bug move, but I guess the idea was like it gives him a counter to Psychic types is the reason I think I put it there. It's not, you know, it's physical damage. It's relatively high. It can paralyze. It will definitely destroy Psychics if you can get a turn, and he's fairly fast. And then he's got Comet Punch for priority attack, and still has old Dustclaw for coverage. He'll learn Explosion at level 51 if you want to be silly. But yeah, I never noticed any great coverage on this guy, and not like he didn't learn Swords Dance or anything. He could have had Rage for attack up, Dragon Attack. Like he's okay, but I never saw anything that wowed me. This is definitely one of those guys that I'm like, oh, he's just too one-dimensional. Alright, we're into Arcanine. This is one of your pseudo-legendaries, as far as I'm concerned, right? The stats are, you can see, are pretty high overall, compared to some of the other level 50s. I really didn't spend a whole lot of time on him, and I'm not going to spend much time here. He does get Flamethrower at a relatively low level. He's got Ember, Hyper Fang. I actually taught him Strength. He could have had Heat Rush as well at lower levels. One thing that I didn't know until we fought someone in the final Elite Four rematch. At level 52, he learns Bone Meringue, which is a very strong ground move that's usually locked to Cubone and Marowak. So a little bit higher level, and we could probably replace Strength or Lick with a ground move, which is definitely a strong upgrade for him. Hyper Fang for just normal, I guess, but it's kind of a split between physical and fire, and he does have Skull Bash if you want. I stopped teaching everyone Skull Bash because I got really annoyed with the recoil damage. But that's rock coverage. Like, his coverage is fine, but at lower levels, he's mostly just normal ghost fire and not much else. So it's not great coverage, but his stats do generally carry him. And I know you can send this guy a lot of TMs anyway, so if you like that sort of thing, he can get there. Poliwhirl, right? Or Wrath. There's too many Polys. I didn't use this guy much. I think his physical attack is too low for fighting to be great. This is one that might be changed, right? Is he... Is he always water fighting, or did they change him? No, he's always water fighting. That's normal. Shows you how much I use this guy. But relatively low speed definitely is not in his favor. He's kind of a defense, like average-ish stats, but low speed and not that good at attacking for fighting. So, do we like him? I don't know. He did learn Hydro Pump at a reasonable level. He learned Drain Punch at very high level. Or, sorry, he can learn Drain Punch at 52, which would have changed my opinion of him slightly, but it's very high level. Dizzy Punch was 36. Like, he doesn't learn fighting moves until pretty high level anyway. He does get, like, one Psychic move with Confusion, and then Water. So, the fact he's got Amnesia helps with his special attacking status, even though his special stat's not amazing. But he's definitely he doesn't really have the stats to back up the moves as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't even have, like, defense ups. So even if you're thinking of him as kind of a tanky water fighter, he doesn't actually learn anything to make his defense better that I can see. So, not my biggest fan. I think, you know, anything with Amnesia could get some value, and I would replace Hydro Pump with Surf, of course, as you'd expect. But, he doesn't get, like, the high tier Psychic attack. He misses out most of the high tier fighting attacks, and doesn't really have much else to say. So, kind of boring. Now we'll go into the prototypical super fast Psychic Glass Cannon. We also didn't use this guy because, well, I'm pretty sure everyone used this guy an awful lot. And I don't think there's much different. He's just super fast, super special, generally just goes Recover Psychic, right? In terms of learn set. You can teach him with TMs lots of things to give him more variety, but his actual learning moveset is not really that amazing. He doesn't even get Amnesia, so you can teach it to him, I think, with a TM, which, like I said earlier on, might be not the most balanced. But he does learn Meditate at level 54, so then you've got the self setup plus Psychic and Recover, which is pretty hard to get around. You throw on another move or two that's useful, and sure, it's fine. But there's not much different. The point is, the main difference in this Romhack is you can evolve him to Alakazam without trading. Other than that, he seems pretty standard, and he's already good, so we don't need to really talk about him. Machamp, this is one I always thought was way cooler than it actually turned out to be. Because it's a trade evolution, again, that I generally would never see. But, level 37 now. He is very much too slow. He has great physical attack, but his speed is pretty rough. And he almost only focuses on fighting moves, which, I mean, it's good to have a fighting move, but he doesn't have much else for coverage. He can learn a couple rock ones, like Rock Slide is mid-tier. Skull Bash, if you like that, once again, he learns it at 52. And he actually gets Drain Punch at 56, which is definitely maybe worth it. But having 3 fighting moves is not great at level 50. So he's kind of missing out on other things. Mega Punch is, you know, your standard best fighting move, but Drain Punch is good. Submission is self-buff. Comet Punch is just priority for punch. Like, you know, but he only does one thing, right? And that's... Anybody that really just learns one moveset, I find when I'm just playing through the game, that generally means they're benched. Maybe against a Pokemon, like against a gym leader, you can bring them in to specifically counter one of their normal types or whatever. But just using them casually, I'd say that if you only have 1 or maybe 2 attack types, you're probably not going to be very good for the most of the game, for me at least. The way I play. Again, this is all from my perspective. So, Victory Bell, which is spelled not like victory. This is one of the cool ones that changed type. So instead of Grass Poison, it's Grass Dragon, which I consider to be a straight upgrade, because Poison type is kind of trash, at least in Gen 1 for sure. And this plant is not one of the slowest plants. Its speed is still not amazing, but it's better than a lot of the other grass types. And it actually has pretty good physical and special attack. So I was more impressed with Victory Bell than I kind of thought I would. It gets Egg Bomb, which is the strongest dragon attack. So it does have a very good stab dragon. It's a 100 power dragon. So if you're fighting other dragons, it's real good. And nothing else really resists it. So it's nice neutral damage. Special as well, which is decent. Other than that, it actually doesn't get the best grass moves. Like, that's kind of what it's missing out on, is actually grass moves, oddly enough. Razor Leaf is as good as it gets. You can probably teach it Solar Beam via TM, but I'm not going to check that right now. Filthy Slam is mid-tier poison. It's not even the strongest poison attack. So we've got, like, at level 50, and it never learns anything better. 55 power grass, I think 70 power poisoned-ish, 100 power dragon, and then Vice Grip was the 75 power bug. So it's kind of got the mid-tier bug, grass, and poison, but not the top-tier ones. So, it doesn't quite learn the right moves naturally for me to love it. Again, with TMs and stuff, you can probably fix it. It does learn growth at really high levels, like 58, if you want to do the setups. But yeah, it's kind of a letdown in its moveset, even though it's got a cool type. I don't think it has the coverage. And I say this about basically all the grass types. Like, they're just like, I used a Bulbasaur all the way through the first half of the game, and it really, even if it's one of the better grass types, it just, yeah, I don't think they're that great. So let's move on to Tentacruel. Well, we're about halfway through. We're just going. At least I've got my groove going here. So surprisingly quick. I thought Tentacruel kind of looked bulky and slow, but it's actually pretty speedy. It's got a surprisingly good special stat. It's too bad Poison is not special. So this guy was another one that I had on my list of surprisingly good movesets, actually, if you're playing along. It doesn't actually learn a lot of water moves. It gets Hydro Pump at level 48 and Water Gun at level 15, but not anything else, I don't think. So you definitely want to give it Surf, which is one of the only HMs I'm considering viable in general, because it's kind of top tier water, and I mean, you literally can't beat the game without it, so you're always going to have Surf, and probably Fly, honestly, is fair. And it's not costing you a slot, so to speak. But yeah, the fact that it's got Grass for Mega Drain is great, and heals itself. Sludge is technically the strongest poison attack, so even though poison's not great, at least it's got the right one. And Static Snag is awesome. It's a mid-tier, like 75 power electric. But it works with its special, so this has got a nice coverage of special. It's great in water battles, like the fact that it's got both grass and electric covers almost any combination of water and something else. And then poison's good against grass, which sort of weak to, like, no, this is a strong moveset and a pretty good combo. I don't think poison typing is great, but this is one of the better poison ones I've seen for sure. I think, Arbok wasn't impressing me too. I have a feeling the developer for this hack, anything that had poison attached to it got a bit of a buff. It kind of seems that way. All right, another trait evolution that normally you don't get to see. Golem here. I used to use Graveler all the time, so I'm pretty confident. I've used these guys a lot. It does have the main downside of being rock ground, which is quad weak to water and grass, which is super common, so then it just dies because they're both special. So I don't think any of the rock ground combos are actually very good when you really get down to it. Especially when you've got enemy trainers that have better coverage moves. Like against the generic bad trainers in Gen 1, it's fine because they don't necessarily have anything other than normal attacks. But intelligent trainers that have a few water, ice, grass type moves, this guy just gets trashed, and all the rock grounds suffer for that, basically. So basically that's cool rock. We really didn't use him very much. I don't see anything super different. It gets the Dust Claw, of course. It's got Rock Throw. The rock attacks are definitely better, right? They have much better accuracy than in Gen 1. It can learn Barrage for Ghost, although its special sucks, right? That's kind of the problem. It interestingly does learn Mega Kick at 52, Fissure at 60, and Mirror Move at 65. It's got more high-level moves than anyone else so far, really. And technically I taught it Strength, so that's not super fair. But it does learn Mega Kick, so it's not too far off. It does learn at least one fighting move itself. Explosion is not great, but, Earthquake, Rock Slide are good. I think it's killed by its type combo, basically. So, although I used it a lot as a kid, it's probably not that amazing. Okay, let's move on to Ponyta and what is it? I don't even know. Rapidash. This is one I forgot the name of. Anyone use Rapidash a lot? I assume it's pretty fast. You'd think that's good. This is one of the fire ones I didn't give much of a try. I think we recruited one pretty late, or I just never used it. But yeah, high speed and then decent attack special is fine. I might not have much to say about this one. Let me just double check. It did add normal. That's something that's different here, something to point out. It is usually pure fire, so kind of the same as Arcanine. This time it's fire normal, which gives it stab with a lot of its fire moves. Stab with a lot of its non-fire normal moves. And it doesn't really learn a lot of fire moves at all. So if you're playing along with this guy at the low to mid levels, it probably won't do anything fiery at all. It gets Stomp and Headbutt and Takedown. So a bunch of normal attacks up to level 33. And then Swift, which I always forgot that this guy... I mean, it's rapid and speedy. That makes sense. But it actually learns an Ice move before no, sorry. Technically, it learns Heat Rush at 33, and then Swift, which is Ice, at 36. But mid-30s before it learns any of the special attacks. Fury Attack is flying, but that's pretty high level as well, like 40 now. And then it's got access to Skull Bash for Rock. If I kept leveling it up... Or no, I should have. It could have learned Mega Kick. I don't know why I didn't add it in there. Level 49 was Mega Kick. It does have an 85 or something % accuracy, so it's not the best fighting move, but it has access to at least one. And then it actually learns Solar Beam at 54. That would maybe have changed my opinion, but it's a pretty high level. I think this is one of those, like, early to mid-game, it doesn't really get much to make it special. But sure, by the end, it has okay moves. You can assumedly teach it Flamethrower anyway, but it doesn't learn it naturally. It's mostly just normal attacker until pretty high levels. So, I don't know. I wasn't really impressed with Rapid Dash. The normal typing certainly makes it better at stomping, but that's not much, you know. Alright, Slowbro is super slow, right? I'm not a huge fan of this guy. I think is it the King version that you get in the future in Gen 2 or 3? That's the one that I kind of liked a bit. This one, I wasn't... You know, this guy's not that good. His speed is one of the worst in the game. His special is not even that good. So all he's really got is physical defense and kind of average special, but he always goes last. He didn't even learn amazing moves, right? Like Bubble Beam was the best water move, so you'd have to give him Surf. Withdraw gives him some more tankiness, which I thought at least made sense. He did get Psychic at like level 45, and he's got Amnesia, so technically he can defense up, special up, and sweep with Psychic, and you can certainly teach him Surf. But that's Water Psychic 101, and he doesn't really learn anything else. He can learn Filthy Slam for poison, but yeah, this guy, I would say the moveset pretty lame. Next, try to keep moving on here. This is another one that doesn't really impress me much. Let's see if there's anything interesting. Not as fast as I was hoping, actually, for the Magnetron. Good special for sure, but usually Electric tend to be in the higher tier speed. This guy's not. He doesn't get Steel yet, so that's unfortunate for him. He does learn Thunderbolt pretty early, which is nice. He does have a Psybeam, actually even earlier than Thunderbolt. So he's got, you know, actually, I take it back. He has more special attacks than I expected early on. Psybeam at 26. He learns Tri-Attack, which I don't know really how to use effectively, but he does get that at level 31, about the same as Dodrio. Thunderbolt is great. Conversion is the same as Amnesia, except for robots. He does learn Thunder, I just didn't bother with it. And eventually Self-Destruct and Swift at higher levels. So he's actually a pretty good coverage special attacker. Also Clamp, which is, I think, Water. And then that's the one that if you go first, if you don't miss, and if you don't miss, it will lock the enemy down for a couple turns. And if you go first, you counter their move. So, if you like that, but again, his speed's not the best, and there's no easy way to buff it, so those kind of moves are not my best combo with slower Pokemons. I think he's okay. But I didn't use him very much. And I think I may have been better off using him than the Electrode. The Electrodes are way faster, but the fire weakness was not the best on that one. Farfetch'd. Super fast, actually. But not much else, right? And the main thing I noticed with his moveset was he's got the same problem as Sandslash, where almost every move he learns is high crit. He has Karate Chop, Slash, Razor Leaf, all the kind of high crit moves. And Swords Dance, which is kind of his not unique, but kind of signature a little bit. But they don't really work together again. The high crits plus the stat boosting and Sword Dance don't really work. I taught him Fly, because he doesn't really learn very many flying moves, and I needed him to fly us around for a while. He only really gets Wing Attack, so it's a normal flying that doesn't really get any flying moves hardly at all, like a couple. He learned Whirlwind, but that's a low accuracy flying at level 45, and only normal move is Slash, which is good. So he doesn't get a lot of stab benefits, and the critical stat up kind of problem. He's okay, but I think you can do better. Slappy, I tried this guy this guy was in our main team for quite a while. We got him in a trade. Definitely did just fine when we were using him. Let me just see his moveset if there's anything interesting. So surprisingly quick. I was surprised how fast he was. I just don't like having ice as a type. It's great as an attack, but bad as a type for my position. But reasonably quick and special and tanky. He's got the amnesia set up with Surf and usually Ice Beam. I think I was just testing out Blizzard here. And then Static Snag is nice coverage too, actually. So he's got... He basically learns all the water ice moves. We could learn Swift at level 55 if you prefer it. If he is a little slow, you can give him Swift to go first. So yeah, Amnesia plus Ice Beam or Blizzard and Swift. That's all. You know, he's got a lot of good ice moves. He's got Static Snag, which is nice. He can learn Skull Bash if you like Recoil Rock. I'd say coverage is actually quite good. Although Skull Bash is physical, so then he's a little bit weaker. But the main downside, I think, is his ice typing. Other than that, pretty cool. Our other poison, one of our poison types, really good physical attack, actually, which definitely helps for poison. So this is definitely a slow physical attacker if you're trying to get any value out of this guy. I think his moves were surprisingly good, actually. Like a lot of these poison types that I generally assume are trash. This guy, I think he had okay moves. Drain Punch, like I said, I quite like, especially with high attack stat. I taught him Surf just for getting around coverage, so maybe don't count that. But he gets all the good poison moves if you like them. Acid Armor, I kind of thought was cool for him. It gives him 2 stages of defense up per use. And he can learn Recover as well at 55. So you could probably turn him into a stalling... with Drain Punch to heal himself. Or I think Drain Punch is probably better than Recover most of the time. But you can defense up and heal yourself in fights. If you throw the TM Toxic on him, which he doesn't learn, he'd be another way of defensing up and just slowly chipping down enemies like that. Not bad, not bad. I like the Drain Punch and the stronger poison attacks certainly help. You could also give him Minimize and do the cheesy strats of having like 10% chance to hit him and he just steals your life every turn. I'm sure you could turn this guy into a pretty good defensive staller if you wanted. Pearl, we got Cloyster, right? Water Ice. One of the higher defenses other than Onyx. Still pretty slow. I mean, what's the difference between this and a Dugong? Well, it's slower. It's more focused on defense. I don't know what else there is to say. I didn't use it much. I don't know how to spell Cloyster. Is there anything interesting here? Spike Cannon is at level 56, so that does certainly help its coverage. It's one of the Ice Beamers. It's got Waterfall. It basically learns the good water ice moves and basically nothing else except for really high level rock. So if you're playing along, he's not really good early game, right? He doesn't get much low level stuff. And he does learn Amnesia at level 52, so you can still do the setup. He gets Vice Grip for a bug attack if you care. But I would say overall water ice with a little bit of bug and in high level rock. It's a little bit too late to use for most things. Gengar. This is one of our trades, so I have not used it looks like a Haunter, remember we cursed him, but he's actually a Gengar. Trade of evolutions are cool. I like them in principle at least. What's new? Well, great speed special, very much the opposite to Alakazam or just Ghost to its Psychic. The problem, honestly, is that it's got Poison, which adds a lot of weaknesses and not a lot of help. So because he has Poison, I think it's kind of a detriment. I think he'd be better off as a pure Ghost myself. But Barrage is a pretty strong Ghost move. Mega Drain gives him a Grass move, and we taught him, I think, Ice Punch via TM accidentally. No, he learns it, never mind. At level 46, he learned Ice Punch. I didn't actually cheat that. He might be able to learn the other Elemental Punches via TM, because you can buy them as well. So that would help him out if you want to mix him up a bit. I do remember Gengar is one of the ones that can TM a lot of special attacks, so, do what you want. But he doesn't actually learn the strongest Poison attack. The main spread he's got is access to Grass and Ice, in addition to... He doesn't really learn any Ghost moves that are great. Barrage is probably the best Ghost move, never mind. But normally you'd probably want to do Dream Eater and Hypnosis if you want to do the old strat of putting things to sleep and then healing as you kill them. It just doesn't work on normal types, and for the most part. But I don't like... Hypnosis is only, like 60% chance to hit or something. So it's cool, and he is fast, so he generally goes first, but that's not enough. So I didn't do the standard Dream Eater setup. So we just get Barrage plus whatever else I could find. And I think it's not bad. It's a decent spread of moves. Certainly viable. I just don't like the fact that he's got that poison type, making him weak to ground and stuff so badly. I think it's quad weak to Psychic too, which is rough. Moving on, we got our other pure Psychic. I think our stats are kind of worse than Alakazam. Even Kadabra, he's got a bit better physical defense, but he's so much slower. Definitely harder to use than Alakazam, I think. And what does he get in addition? Well, not much. He does have... sorry, I'm still looking at... Right, sorry. Hypno, where are you? Everything's fallen. Hypnotize. Hypnosis every time I'm searching for it. Hypno, there we go. So, of course, he gets Psychic at a pretty low level. He's one of the pure Psychics. He gets that. He gets Meditate. He does also have access to the Dream Eater combo if you like. Although he uses Lovely Kiss to put things to sleep. He doesn't get that till a very high level. Nightshade is a weaker ghost attack. It's not as good as Barrage. I think he's kind of forgettable. I don't think there's anything really unique about this guy. I taught him Strength to kill Chanseys, so he could probably learn some interesting moves via TM or HM. But his natural moveset is still mostly just Psychic and Ghost, and not much else. He does learn Headbutt, so he's got like a little bit more physical prowess than Alakazam, but it's not that amazing, and his speed is so bad. Anyway, I'm not super impressed with that. Pinchy, moving on. I tried to get some use out of Kingler, because this guy's different. He used to be just ground, I think. Should have split this episode into like 5 parts, but it's fine. Kingler is usually just pure water, which is pretty boring. There's way too many water types in Gen 1. So we added ground, or somebody added ground. That's cool. Water ground does remove his electric weakness, but adds, quad grass. As we've talked about many times, the problem with Water Crab is all water moves are special, so his Crab Hammer is not as good as it should be. His special is like half of his attack. So I actually ended up replacing Crab Hammer with Surf, which is just more accurate. But, he gets Stab, Earthquake, and access to Bug and Flying. And he does get, in a couple more levels at 53, Spike Cannon, again, the best rock move. So, honestly, not the worst moveset, and if you just focused more on the physical ones, ground, rock, maybe teach him fighting or flying, maybe just forget about water entirely and just let him do other elements. It kind of, he'd probably be better off to be ground something else if you could just pick a different Pokemon, because his stats don't really work with water very well. And that's always been the main problem. I think he's certainly better than he used to be, but, the disability of water, no physical water really sucks. Last one. We tried to use this guy. I thought Executor would be cool. I don't know how to spell this one either. Egg. We'll just go to the next page. X-Egg. This is one of those ones I would never have guessed the spelling. He's an X-Egg. He used to be an egg. Maybe that's how you remember it. He's not an egg anymore. Blown someone's mind. Yeah, I thought Grass Psychic would be good, because it's different than Grass Poison, and it's kind of unique, I guess. I don't know how many other Pokemon get Grass Psychic, but he does. It didn't really work out that hot. His special's great, which is good for Grass and Psychic, but his speed is pretty terrible, which tends to mean a lot of enemies just went first and put him to sleep, or paralyzed him, or wrapped him, or whatever, and he just never got to do anything. His moveset isn't that amazing. Solar Beam is great. He actually doesn't learn Psychic, so you'd have to TM him that if you want. Which kind of sucks. Barrage is strong Ghost, but he still has Sleep Powder, because I never found anything better. He does learn Egg Bomb at 53, which is the Dragon 100, which would probably be what I would add in instead of Sleep Powder. But again, it's pretty limited. It's Grass. He doesn't get anything really good Grass type until like 48, and he doesn't get anything better than Psybeam ever for Psychic. So his stab moves are a little bit limited, and his coverage isn't that hot. I think he's okay, but his slowness kind of kills him. Alright. We're getting there, guys. Hope you're still enjoying the show. Let's go to Boner. There we go. Now we're talking. I like this guy with the Ghost add-on. His speed and special suck, so he's going pretty much last. His special attack... Actually, it doesn't matter. This is one of those few times where Ghost becomes physical, and that's because it's dynamic in this Romhack. And I wish I'd had a good chance to use him, because he might be our premier Ghost physical attacker. I just, I didn't have a spot for him in the party. I brought the Fire Ghost instead. But let's have a look at what they can do, because if you can get Ground and Ghost with the high attack, we're still dealing with a slow Pokemon, but hey, look, Drain Punch is great. Skull Bash is okay, especially if you can heal yourself with Drain Punch. Barrage is a great Ghost attack with Stab, and uses Physical now. And Boomerang is a great ground attack. So it's got a great Stab, Ground, Ghost. It's got an okay Rock attack, and a nice Fighting attack. Honestly, pretty good moveset. But those are all pretty high level. It does learn Submission at level 56 if you'd rather that than Drain Punch. But early on, it's a bit light. Like, it gets Comet Punch and Headbutt, but it doesn't start getting ground attacks until, like, level 30 with Dig. It doesn't get... Like I think in the low levels, if you can get one... I can't remember what level you catch them at in the Dark Tunnel, but I think when you first catch a Cubone, their moves are pretty weak, and it's not till you're kind of into the 40s where we finally get... And a lot of the Pokemon are like that, where... they just don't really have viable early game moves, and part of the fun of this Romhack is you can get them a lot earlier than normal. But if they don't have good moves, then they're just kind of a liability. I think this guy is not bad. His moveset is not bad. It's just a little bit high level before the good stuff kicks in. But yeah, that's what we got here. I think there's not much to say. I think it's a pretty good... I think he's viable for sure. We just didn't get a chance to fit him in. Hitmonlee, I accidentally got... Well, accidentally. I used this guy to train up everyone to level 50. So I just fought Chanseys and swapped to him. And most of the time, he just one-shot them with one of his fighting moves. So don't worry about his stats being level 100. That's not really relevant here. Let's just look up what Hitmon... Can I not spell Hitmon? That sounds like a pretty easy spelling. Come on, Blue. Hitmonlee, yeah. So, Drain Punch and Submission. Rolling Kick is Rock, at least, so that's cool. And Meditate is neat, because it gets his attack at speed and his special up, which is mostly important for defensive. Another pure fighting type, he's definitely not bad. I think he's got more versatility maybe than Machamp did. And he's certainly not as slow, although I can't really compare his stats on this screen. You can see the sort of ratios, I suppose. He's pretty weak if he was level 50. His physical defense and special would be pretty low, but his speed as a ratio isn't the worst. It's just he's mostly attack with average speed is I believe the way to look at this guy. And pure fighting with a bunch of fighting moves is fine. He does learn High Jump Kick at like level 53 if you like that one, kind of as his signature. But High Jump Kick does miss, and then I think it does crash damage, so not super impressive basically, but certainly not bad. Hitmonchan is similar. I think maybe a bit more balanced stats rather than focused everything into attack. And he gets, of course, all the elemental punches. So his special is, like I said, I'm sure I said it long ago, it's better than I thought it was. I thought his physical attack was way stronger than his special, and maybe it actually is in vanilla. Maybe the ROM hacker, because I think some of the stats are changed in this ROM hack. I'm actually just looking at Hitmonchan real quick here in Gen 1, or at least in vanilla. Okay, once they did the split, his special attack was 35 rather than his special defense of 110. But I don't remember, or I can't see easily what it was in Gen 1. Maybe it was upped in this hack, but yeah, I remember usually Ice, Fire, Lightning Punch being special really sucked because his special stat I feel usually was garbage. So the elemental punches are cool, but they're not unique anymore because we've got TMs for them and anyone can learn them. Well, most fighting types can learn them. So it's not quite as special for him. He does get Mega Punch. Anyone with Mega Punch, it's probably the strongest single hit fighting move, so that's good. And he has access to like Dizzy and Drain Punch, basically all the punches, but basically nothing else. So his coverage is reliant on special, which is okay. Having access to Fire, Ice, or Lightning is it? Yeah, Fire, Ice, Lightning, right? Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Punch. That's cool. I think he's okay. But there's so many pure fighting. I think you can definitely do better. All right, now we're into like the wild category. I don't even know what to say. Some of these guys are just so forgettable. I don't think they ever show up again in another Pokemon, right? Lickitung is actually relatively quick with just average stats. He did learn Mega Punch. This is one that I do kind of remember being surprised on the moveset. Hyper Beam with normal stab is good. That was level 50. Mega Punch, like I said, real good. Meditate, kind of for special attack. Attack, speed, and special. So it's more buffing up his Hyper Beam. And then he's got Headbutt for like a regular normal attack. I actually think this is not the worst moveset. It's very normal focused, but normal stab, Hyper Beam is not bad. And especially if you can attack up. Like Swords Dance might be better for Hyper Beam, oddly enough. But it gives him a bit of speed. Kind of fixes his relatively low stats. I still don't like him, but I think his moveset is definitely better than you would expect looking at a Lickitung. He gets like Wrap. He actually doesn't. He starts with Lick, so you got a Ghost move early on. He can Wrap and Stomp, and generally has something to do as you level him up, but once you get past 30 or 40, he starts getting some cool stuff like Mega Punch. So yeah, I think Hyper Beam, right, is awesome, so that's cool. Moving right along here, we've got our slow poison, relatively slow poison attacker, pretty tanky. I don't know if there's much to say. I'm starting to wear out a little bit. Wheezing, we're over 2/3 through. We can power through, Blue, power through. Wheezing, what's new here? He gets Egg Bomb at level 50, which is now the Dragon 100, which is something. Barrage is Ghost, so that helps. Growth gives him a self-heal. Sludge is the strongest poison. I don't think his moveset is great. I just think poison is a lot stronger than it used to be, and he's got some nice off-types. Dragon and Ghost are nice. I wouldn't say great, just nice. His actual stats don't really lean him to either side of the attack or special split. So I think he's still pretty forgettable. Fairly slow, a little bit tanky. He does get the does he get acid armor? No, that was Muck. So he doesn't really get like Growth is special up and heal. So you can probably with Growth focus more on some of the special moves like Dragon and Ghost. Not so much Poison. But yeah, maybe. Rhytruck, I mean, we don't have to talk about this guy very much. Same problem as Golem. Great attack defense, terrible speed special. I can barely tell the difference between this guy and Golem anymore. They're both super weak to the same things. The movesets are a little different, but not different enough for me to really highlight anything here. Let me quick check. I tried to use this guy for a while in our main team, but it wasn't enough. Let's see. Earthquake is great, of course. Horn attack early on is a nice rock attack. He does get a fighting low kick attack early on. I think early on he's fine, but once you start fighting trainers that typically have water and grass, it doesn't really matter what his stats are. He's going to get destroyed. He's got access to a poison attack with Filthy Slam. He's got Fury attack, which is flying, which is nice coverage. He will learn Mega Kick at 52 and Hyper Beam at 56. So if you think that will fix him, keep going. I don't think that will fix him. I think Rhydon is pretty bad. Similarly, here's Chansey. Yeah, I mean, they have no attack or defense. They just have tons of hit points. They're actually quite slow, and their special is, I mean, it's good, but you know what doesn't use special? Normal moves. So there's no stab. And I'm pretty sure in, like, competitive, Chansey is okay or possibly good if you build certain strats around it. But for just casual playthrough, it's probably one of the... I feel like this is one of the biggest splits between casual and competitive, right? Like, I'm not a competitive player, but I know people use stuff like this a lot in some of the setups anyway. But yeah, there's really not much to say about Chansey. Soft Boiled is a heal, like Recover, basically. Egg Bomb is a 100 power dragon, but no stab. At least it uses special instead of physical. So it's stronger probably than in vanilla with special attack. Barrage is Ghost, so it doesn't work on other normals, but again, his reasonable special stat compared to terrible physical attack. Sing, you know, chance to put to sleep. I don't see anything really amazing here. It gets double edge at 54, which is normal recoil damage, but it's not very good at physical attacks, so those are all trash. You know, like, not much to say. I think, you know, it's TM weird. It's weird tricks that you use with Chansey, not like it's not a attacker, right? Like it's a setup or kind of status inflictor annoyer. Tangela, We got a bit of use out of this guy. We traded for it. Mostly ended up using it for capturing because it learns Spore, the 100% sleep, which is real good for capturing Pokemon. Another slow grass, one of the rare only grass, not grass poison types, so it's not actually weak to Psychic and actually is weak to Bug instead. So you get the normal grass weakness rather than the grass poison combo. But yeah, low speed, not great. Special's only okay. I don't think it's a great fighter, but the fact that it's got Spore, which is 100% sleep, plus Dream Eater, is a really potent combo. It's a bit slow, and you don't get this until like level 49. But the fact that you can 100% sleep into 100 power Ghost self-heal, and you've got Mega Drain, and you can self-up, like, I think this actually would have been viable for the Elite Four. Grass isn't my favorite, but being able to Amnesia up, like, to +6 stat, put things to sleep for sure, and then heal up while you deal, hopefully, ghost damage. It works on everything that's not normal. I think that's pretty good. Now, keep in mind, there are a few new Pokemon that are added normal, like Goldeen is water normal, and Sandslash is ground normal. So there are more things immune to Dream Eater than there were in the original game, I think. Maybe not, because, like, Fearow and Spearow were normal flying, and so was Dugtrio, or Dugtrio. And they no longer have their normal type. So it's moved around a little bit. I'm not sure, actually, the totals, but you have to keep that in mind if you're going to use Ghost moves. So I think Tangela's cool. It really doesn't learn much else. This is a very one-trick pony. It's Mega Drain or Razor Leaf into Spore Dream Eater. And that's it. It doesn't really get anything else. I guess you could get Poison Powder if you want to use stuff like that, but it's kind of one trick. Girlfish, yeah, but normal was added. It's still pretty slow. It's still pretty forgettable. I've never really used a Goldeen or a Sea King before. I don't really think I would now either. But let me have a look at its learn set, just in case something surprises me. The unique sort of feature for these, of course, is that they get flying attacks as a fish. So Peck, and then eventually Fury attack. It also gets a bug attack with Twin Needle, and eventually at level 57, Hyper Beam. So you get the normal stab out of that. So that's something to look forward to if you really like it. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan, but it's got most of the water attacks and some okay normal attack moves. But nothing unique, I don't think, really, other than, water plus normal with a couple flying attacks. Reasonably good attack and special, pretty slow though. So we're gonna move on a little quicker through all these water types. We didn't use Star Us. But sure, this is certainly a good Pokemon. High speed, reasonably good special, good for water and psychic. I think it was always water psychic, but let me just real quick double check. Enjoy the music. Should have played some more music to mix it up. Yeah, water psychic is standard for it. Like, so many water psychic. That's at least 3, right? Like, so many water psychic. So weird. Just like all the ground rock and grass poison. Let's see. Oh, I didn't actually type this in. I'm looking for Starmie, please. Starmie. So yeah, it gets all the water moves. It's definitely, unlike, say, Golduck, which didn't really learn very many water moves, this guy gets Bubble Beam at a level 21, reasonably low level. So you're going to have like a good water move until you get Surf. And it does learn Hydro Pump at high levels if you want to use that instead of Surf, although, like I said, I wouldn't. But the fact that it's got Mega Drain from Grass at a reasonably low level, Swift for Ice, and then Psychic at 43, a little bit late. But it's actually got pretty good coverage. Grass, Water, Ice, Psychic is a lot. It doesn't get a lot of stat ups. You could do an Acid Armor for defense up, or Recover for self-heal. But Mega Drain sort of covers that anyway, right? So I think this moveset is pretty good. And I might have used it if I hadn't banned it, because it's pretty good. It's fast and strong. Good special. Mr. Crime. This guy's new. It used to be just pure Psychic, but now we've got that weird Psychic Ghost combo. I guess nowadays it's Psychic Fairy, but, that's not Gen 1 rules. So, Mr. Mime, I think, has always been kind of a gimmick, because he tends to do a bunch of setup, and he does, like, mirror move and stuff. Tends to be a bit of a troll. Psychic, at least, is special. Ghost will also use his special. So you've got the strongest Psychic move, the strongest Ghost move, and I give him Ice and Meditate, or Swift and Meditate. His speed is okay, he's not going to keep up with an Alakazam, but he's got a bit more physical defense. He gets Substitute if you want to do stuff like that. He's also got Mirror Move and Light Screen, but I mean, mostly I just look at him as Psychic Ghost. He doesn't really have much other coverage. Swift is the only other element he really gets, I think. So, I guess he's got a normal attack if you like Double Slap. Seismic Toss, but that barely counts. So yeah, kind of a weird one. Not a huge fan overall, even with the change to add Ghost in there. I'm not sure exactly what that means for the type matchup. I think he's quad weak to Ghost now, which is pretty brutal. But it does, you know, it's different at least, right? Bug Flying is actually not a great combination, I don't think. But Scyther here, you can catch him at least. None of this 4% encounter, 1% catch rate nonsense. You know, good attack and speed. So certainly anything with high speed and attack could be a good physical attacker, no doubt about it. Let me pull up his moveset. I think it's actually pretty good. But I don't think it needed to be improved, because I think Scyther was already pretty decent. Scyther... The main difference is that the bug attacks are actually good now. They're not just Pin Needle. So Twin Needle is actually quite strong. He gets Pin Missile at 23. He gets Swords Dance, which is great, and Twin Needle at 38. So it's pretty late. Remember, I was like annoyed that Beedrill didn't learn Twin Needle till 22, which is not a very high level, but there was a big section of the game where he was useless. So you got to keep in mind that some of these moves are relatively high level, but Fury Attack is a pretty good flying move. He gets reasonably early. Swords Dance works for trainers real well. He does also have access to Slash. I didn't keep it, but Slash would be good if you like a normal attack. I think it might have been better than High Jump Kick, which is his 48 move. I think I replaced Slash with High Jump Kick. High Jump Kick's cool, and it's kind of a neat combo for a bug flying bit of fighting. But Slash might be better overall, just for criticals and not missing and taking damage. But yeah, I think he's a good physical attacker. Not the best combo, but bug flying is whatever. Jinx! I gotta say, I'm not a huge Jinx fan. Ice, again, it's a type that I don't generally like using a whole lot, at least not in Gen 1 especially. So it gives you a lot of weakness to fire and rock and stuff. Lots of weaknesses anyway. But the stats are good. Good spread. Speed, special, decent. And it has what you'd expect. Psychic, Ice Beam / Blizzard, Amnesia for self-buff, Surf for water. It's a very classic Ice Pokemon in my mind. Ice Psychic. You can do Lovely Kiss to put people to sleep and Dream Eater combo if you like that. It will eventually learn Egg Bomb if you want a neutral sort of dragon attack that's strong. Another special attacker. And with Amnesia, you can... Anything with Amnesia can certainly sweep. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I think... You can't really get a Jinx too early. They're another one of those game corner ones. Like, even in this Romhack, it's not really early availability, but earlier than normal at least. But I really think it's the being an ice type is not really the best part of it. And I kind of banned most of the psychics anyway. Similarly, Electabuzz, normally you can only get in the power plant. You could buy them in the game corner, so at least you have access to these a little earlier than normal. They're not very expensive. They're like 8,000 Pokebucks or so. So as soon as you get to Celadon, you could buy one of these if you like. I like the combo. I kind of wish I'd tried this guy more. I think Electric Fighting is cool. It does have the split of special and attack, which can be good because you can take advantage of your enemy's weaknesses. So decent speed, attack, and special. It of course learns Thunderbolt, actually at a pretty good level. It's got Heat Rush for fire combo at like level 37. It has Drain Punch for fighting. And also Mega Punch at level 42. So it takes a while to get the best moves. But I think its moveset's great. One of the best lightning moves. It does learn Thunder, I just didn't keep it. So probably the best lightning moves. One of the better fire moves. Probably the best damaging fighting moves and also a healing move. You can learn Hyper Beam at 54 if you don't want to have two fighting. And that's also pretty cool. So yeah, I think this guy certainly could have made it to the team. I think he would have been better than my Electabuzz or my Electrode. He's not as fast as my lightning ball, but I think he's got more utility overall. Moving on with more of these kind of iconic ones, you can recruit Magmars a lot earlier. You can get these guys before the Dark Tunnel, which was pretty cool. Fire Psychic I also think would have been really good. I didn't use them, but I think it's a pretty strong combo. He also has good attack and special and decent speed. You know, they're all pretty solid, nothing crazy. And his moveset is great. Flamethrower, best fire. Earthquake, best ground. Barrage, probably the best ghost. And Psychic, best psychic. Like, his moveset is, without any setups, he doesn't learn amnesia, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could probably TM it to him if you wanted. I mean, no, he learns great moves. Now, Earthquake is pretty high level. He doesn't get any ground coverage till pretty high level. Rolling Kick does give him Rock, earlier on if you want, which is good. So he doesn't really shine until 30s into the 40s when he finally gets like the great set. Even Psychic he doesn't learn until 47. So it's a pretty slow go. He does get Poison Gas at 52, but whatever. Poison's kind of garbage. I think his moveset's awesome. Like, honestly, quite good. This would be probably better. Like, I brought Ninetales for Fire Ghost, which it's a tough competition between the two as the new switcheroos with fire plus something cool. But yeah, I like that guy. I think Magmander or Magmar would have had a good use. All right, we fought so many bulls when we were playing because there was a trainer in the Safari Zone that really I don't know how to spell this one. T-A-U. I thought oh, I see. Blue fails to type. I put Saurus, not Taurus. But yeah, this guy is actually, I have heard through the grapevine that Taurus is another very popular competitive Gen 1, maybe 2 Pokemon. Just normal types apparently people really like for competitive. I'm not a huge fan for, casual versus, but, against the AI. But yeah, his moveset is actually pretty good. He's quite fast. He's quite the physical attacker. And pure normal means not a lot of weaknesses. So if you look at his moves, it's focusing mostly on normal with Body Slam. He does get Mega Kick, and if we leveled him up a little bit more, Hyper Beam, which with a high physical stab normal, actually pretty good. Mega Kick, maybe not the best choice, but also counters other normals. Skull Bash for Rock, but self-damaging. It's kind of boring, but I think he's got decent enough. Like, Fury Attack gives him the flying coverage. He can get fighting and rock and normal. Like, that's not a bad spread. They're all physical attackers. It's good. It doesn't wow me necessarily, but I think it's good. Better than I probably give him credit for when I was playing. Another one of the guys we banned, not as fast as I remember with Gyarados here. And of course we don't have the split water physical special type moves yet. So he's definitely got more physical power than special power. So he's not going to get quite as much value out of Surf and Hydro Pump and stuff. But Gyarados is always a beast. Unless you fight, Raichu or something. So I didn't really use him very much. Okay, Gyarados. We should have just called him Guy. No, it's not Gyarados. It's Gyarados. I actually don't know how you... I always say Gyarados, but I actually don't know how you pronounce that one. That's too many A's. So, Radish. Just call him Radish. He doesn't learn very many moves. I'm looking at it right now. Dragon Rage, which is mid-tier, not the strongest, but mid-tier dragon. Better than vanilla. Body Slam, Hydro Pump, Hyper Beam. Nothing else. So I gave him Strength. I gave him Surf. He would have learned Hydro Pump, but, Surf is probably better. At level 52, Hyper Beam. So again, he's definitely not a learn set very good. It's the kind of guy you gotta add some moves on with TMs or whatever. So that's kind of disappointing. But I expect he was already one of the top tier, Gen 1. So I expect the Romhack didn't change very much. The Dragon Rage is already stronger, so that's fine. But yeah, we're just gonna move on. Everyone's seen many Gyaradoses. Lapras, another one I've personally not used, but is another I think quite commonly seen competitive Pokemon in the old days. It's still very slow, but it's got a lot of HP, so it's hard to kill. And Water Ice is not my favorite combo, but sure, you've got the classics Hydro Pump / Surf, Ice Beam, or Blizzard. Mist is kind of neat. It's gets rid of statuses and stat ups and downs or something. So I kept it on him. It actually doesn't learn very many moves. It would learn Blizzard in a couple levels, but this is kind of like similar to the last one, Gyarados. It doesn't actually learn very much on its own. So unless you want to throw some TMs at it, it's probably not going to have a very good moveset. Maybe Body Slam, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Blizzard, or Mist. There's not much else you can do with it naturally. You got to throw stuff at it. So not much to talk about. I didn't use the Ditto because it came at level 62. Dittos are, they just sort of do one thing, right? So I don't know if people ever use these guys ever. I don't think they learn anything. No. So let's just move along. There's nothing to talk about for Dittos. And then our first of the Eevees. So I didn't use these guys either. I had them in my band group. Vaporeon. If I remember correctly, in Vanilla, these guys generally just didn't learn very good moves. Stats were fine. One of the better pure types of each of their three. Like good stats overall, but not necessarily the best moveset. But I think some of those have maybe changed in this hack. So if we look at what it learns, it's got Aurora Beam. It doesn't learn Ice Beam. It's got Waterfall, which we replaced with Surf. Hydro Pump, which is kind of the stronger water move. It actually, yeah, it still doesn't have much. It's mostly got low-level normal attacks, mid-level water attacks, and mid-tier ice. But it doesn't actually learn... Like, it's got Swift and Aurora Beam, but no Ice Beam or Blizzard. So it doesn't get the strongest ice. It does get the strongest water. And eventually at really high levels, level 65, you can teach it Mist and Haze. Acid Armor is kind of neat because it gives it defense up. And it is a pretty tanky guy. But it is, again, kind of your classic. Doesn't really have much coverage. Mostly just water, ice. And very little else. So that is why I generally don't use Vaporeon. I'd rather have something that adds more than just water to it. Because most water Pokemon can learn a couple ice moves, right? We're almost through. Finishing the EVs up. Or continuing the EVs. We've got the one everyone usually picks, Jolteon. This guy is fast. Super fast. Faster even than a Kadabra or Alakazam, I think. I don't think it's as fast as a Electrode, but it's one of the fastest Gen 1s. So let's look at Jolteon's moves. Good special, good speed, and Thunderbolt Thunder, as usual. Pin Missile is kind of its canonical, not signature, but one of the few fast Pokemon that can learn a bug move in Vanilla. The problem is, attack stat's not that good, and it was kind of a counter to Psychic in the old days, when there wasn't very many counters to Psychic, but Pin Missile's still not that great. And now we've got access to like Twin Needle and stuff that's stronger anyway. But Heat Rush is cool. It's got a fire move to combo with its light electric moves. But it didn't learn that till 44. I think its move pool is quite weak. It's mostly electric, one bug move, and a couple normal moves. Or now Heat Rush added in, basically. Heat Rush helps, but that's not too much. I assume they're just good enough in Vanilla that you don't need to make many changes. But compared to some of the ones we've seen, nothing too crazy. Now here we go to probably the least used of the first three EVs. It's the slowest, and, you know, fire is special, not physical. So, attack 150 doesn't help much. I know later on there's, you know, physical fire moves that are good, but they're not in Gen 1. Not, in fact, until Gen 4. So, it's Flamethrower if you can't get Flamethrower any other way, I guess. But that's not that great. I think there's lots of good fire types to use in this game. You don't need to use Flare on. Let me double check if it learns anything interesting in the guide here. Mega Kick is one of the inaccurate fighting moves, right? Skull Bash is rock, but recoil. Flamethrower is kind of your standard. Doesn't really learn any other fire moves. It's literally the only fire moves it learns is Flamethrower. So, right, like, if you catch an Eevee at level 3 in the first couple zones in this hack, and then find a Firestone and give it to this guy, he doesn't actually learn a fire move until 32. He doesn't get Ember or Heat Rush or anything. So he's not really going to be your fire wielder until pretty mid-late game. And I think, honestly, pretty trash. I'm trying to keep an eye on when they learn their moves, as addition to their level 50 set. At level 50, it looks fine. But remember, until level 32, it has Stomp. It's Roar and Stomp. That's not much. So not impressed. We also have Porygon, which is another one of the ones I haven't used. I'm very surprised at how high the special is. And conversion is the same as Amnesia, so it can be a crazy special attacker. Porygon is weird, and I have a hard time talking about it because I don't really understand it. It beat us up a lot when we ran into it in the Cinnabar Mansion. So just looking at its moveset, Psychic on normal, but with a high special stat. Conversion to boost the special higher. Tri-Attack to do... It can learn Tri-Attack, it just lost it on its own. Like, I didn't level it up. But yeah, I don't know. Self-Destruct is kind of annoying. It's got Recover, though, so it doesn't... If it doesn't kill itself with Self-Destruct, it can heal. So you could go Special Up, Special Up, Special Up, Self-Destruct, Recover, or Psychic. Like, it's got one trick, or you could switch it up with Tri-Attack. But the move pool is quite low on its own. but anything with a +2 special and strong special moves is good. It's normal with only special attacks. I think it's actually quite unique. I think its stats overall, well, keep in mind it's level 69, of course, but it's more special than others, right? So, interesting. All right, look at that, 139, we're almost through. This guy, Almastar, another one I've probably never used. It's a rock water, which is a rare type, I think. Pretty weak to grass, but slow, tanky. That's about all I can say just at its stats. I think its move pool is good though. I remember looking at this guy a bit when I was leveling him up, so I was going to mention that. Almastar. Yeah, Surf, we teach it. It does learn Waterfall and Hydro Pump, so it gets all the water, most of the water moves anyway. Spike Cannon, it learns at a reasonably low level compared to a lot of things. Like, it gets Stab Rock, which is pretty good. Spike Cannon's really strong. Swift is Ice for some coverage. It does kill grass if you can survive the quad effect, and it's got Mega Drain, which I actually think is pretty cool. So I think its overall type coverage is pretty impressive. Water, grass, ice, rock. That's a lot of nice combos, and it's not all physical either, because it's got rock or it's not all special. It's mostly special with a little bit of physical. So Spike Cannon is not as good on it, but its special stat for all the rest are pretty strong. So I think that's okay. I still think it's too slow for my specialization, but I don't think it's bad. And I expect it got a buff. And then actually, while I'm looking at it, I think it got the switch in types as well. I probably have missed a couple going through. You can always leave a comment if you noticed some of them that I missed. But yeah, so Omastar was rock water, that was normal. But Kabutops was also rock water. Now it's rock bug, so it lost water entirely. So that's something. I don't think bug is probably better than water, but Kabu. Let's see what Kabutops looks like. Alright, so rock bug with relatively low speed and special, or at least only mid. Twin Needles, so it's got the bug stab. Earthquake is ground. Skull Bash is rock. Fury is flying. It does learn Swords Dance at higher levels, we just didn't get that far. So it's a decent physical attacker, right? I think I switched Leech Life with Twin Needle. I think it was a mistake, because Leech Life heals itself, which is really nice. Twin Needle does more damage, but it starts with Leech Life, which is pretty good. So I think it's if you want to use a bug, this is something to think about in this ROM. Rock plus bug, give it a shot. It's a pretty good physical attacker. It's got pretty good type coverage. Definitely more powerful than I was expecting. Oops, I did it again. Well, that's only been like twice. So we've got our rock dinosaur. It's I don't know how they spelled it. Aerodactyl. Yeah, we got him. So this guy is definitely way faster than I always remember. Like, I know it's known for being fast, but I always forget because it's a rock. I think, oh, it must be slow, but no. It's one of the fastest rocks for sure, and definitely a speed and attack combo, which is good for rock and flying, you know? It's got Skull Bash, which I don't really think is great because it's recoil damage. I think it'd be better with Spike Cannon, but obviously it's got a big rocky skull, so it makes sense. I taught it Fly. It doesn't really learn very many moves. It learns Whirlwind, but not much else for flying. So I assume Fly is an obvious HM you could toss on it. It does learn Sword Dance at a low level and Earthquake. So it's got kind of that ground, rock, flying combo, but very little else. And even its rock move isn't that good. So the one stab rock move is like, it's okay. It does have Rock Throw if you don't like Skull Bash, but other than that, doesn't have the top tier rock move. So it's fast, it hits hard in physical, you can Swords Dance it up, but I think its coverage is a little bit light. It's not bad, just a little bit light. Alright, we're almost through. Average guy, Snorlax. I don't think we need to talk too much about Snorlax. Super slow, very bulky, known for going to sleep and fully healing himself. Other than that, he generally has a bunch of normal attacks. I think he gets Hyper Beam, almost certainly gets Hyper Beam. At 51, we were one level too short. He gets Mega Kick and Explosion at higher levels too. But yeah, his moveset's really slim for learning, like just level up. Body Slam is good. And then Rest. Double Edge is kind of recoil damage, which with Rest works. He's got amnesia, not for any specific reason. I think he just had it. I don't think I taught it to him. I don't even see it in his learn set, but he must have just had it when we got him. Yeah, I mean, he's missing some moves, but Hyper Beam would help a lot. Hyper Beam Snorlax sounds pretty awesome, actually. So, but I don't think that's much different than normal. He does a bunch of stab normal moves and then rests up to full. And you just get lots of HP. So, you know, that's kind of the standard. We're into legendaries. Look at that. I did level these guys up a little higher because I wanted to see their moveset before I knew I could just, you know, search for it. So let's look at Articuno. These guys, the legendary birds do learn their moves because you catch them at 50, so they get a move into the 60s. But Ice Flying, I generally consider one of the worst ones. Articuno is probably my least favorite of the 3 legendary birds in Gen 1. It's a bit slower than the others. It does have, I think, the best special stat of the 3. But Flying is not special, so it's just affecting Ice. And it doesn't have a great coverage. It's Ice Beam and... Well, it actually started with the worst. I remember leveling it up. It started with the worst of the 3's flying attacks. It just had Wing Attack. The other ones had, like, Drill Peck and Fury Attack. So it had, like, the weakest physical flying move. Ice Beam, which is good, but the Ice type, which is not good. And it learns Blizzard, Agility, and Whirlwind. Agility's kind of boring, just speed up. Whirlwind is the flying attack that can miss. And Blizzard, well, it's good. But it's, again, pretty basic. It only does a couple things. But they are legendary, so their stats are way higher. So then Electabuzz, no, Zapdos, probably my favorite of the 3 birds, because it's fast. This is, you know, if you need an electric type and you're tired of Raichu and all them, this is probably the, well, Flying Electric isn't still the best combo, but at least Flying counters the ground weakness of Electric, so it's got that going for it. But it is fast with really good special. I generally like its moveset better as well, and I don't know if this is anything close to normal, but it learned, I think it had one of the better, I think it had Drill Peck or something, one of the better flying attacks, although you can just teach it fly, of course. Thunderbolt is great, Spike Cannon is a really good rock attack, which is really nice for its coverage, and then Thunder. So it doesn't get much, but Spike Cannon I think is better than what Articuno got. So, you know, it's got that going for it. Final legendary, Moltres. I don't know, kind of my average one. It's not as fast as Zapdos, but it's got decent special. Another Fire Flying, probably the more physical fighting of the 3, I guess. It's got a better attack stat. Let me pull out its moveset here. It's got Dragon Rage, right? That's probably, I can see it literally on screen. There's not much else it's capable of learning naturally. But Flamethrower is good. Fly / whatever, I think at Fury Attack is good. It does learn Fire Blast, if you like rolling the dice, and Dragon Rage, which is a decent dragon attack. Yeah, I think he's okay. You know, they're all legendaries, so the stats are great. Finally, we've got, well, almost finally, we have our, you know, our dragon type. It's actually, I think it's quite unfortunate that it's dragon plus flying. It'd be so much better if it was just pure dragon. But, sure, Dragonite. The main thing I remember about these guys, one of the many, basically just you can TM this guy into whatever move pool you like. But again, we're talking only the stuff he learns specifically because, you know, once you're adding TMs and HMs with that, you can customize these guys a lot, and that's not really, that's too broad of a topic right now. But yeah, Dragonite, you know, basically legendary tier stats, not the fastest, but great physical and decent special. So I must have taught him Surf at some point and Flash. I guess he doesn't learn very many moves, actually. You have to teach him via TM, Earthquake, or Flamethrower, or Ice Beam. I think he can learn most of those if you like. So you can customize them however you want. But naturally, it's actually just like Hyper Beam, Dragon Rage. Not much else. So you don't see much else here because he didn't learn much else. So he's kind of boring if you don't use TMs, interestingly enough. Even though his stats are great. And Hyper Beam is strong, but he doesn't get stab out of it. He doesn't actually learn any flying attacks. And he only has one dragon attack. It's not even as strong as the Egg Bomb, oddly enough. So if you just looked at his learn set, it's kind of on the weak side, and it's a lot of work to level this guy up. But yeah, if you factor in the fact that you can TM, HM him a lot of stuff, he can cover whatever you want. And then I had 2 more that I accidentally missed when I was sorting them. So let's go back to the 2 that I missed. Clefable. I tried to go through them in the Pokedex order, but, you know, I missed this one. So I did talk about this one briefly accidentally when I looked at Wigglypuff, because I can barely tell the difference. I don't really know what you do with these things. It learned a lot of weird stuff. Petal Dance, crazy good grass attack for special. Sky Attack for physical flying. It's got the Lovely Kiss Dream Eater combo at level 54. It's got Mimic to learn, and you get to pick a move. It's got Metronome to just use a random move from any of the moves. At least you can't explode insta-kill yourself anymore. But yeah, it's definitely weird. I don't really know how I would ever use it. But if you could do a normal special attacker, you could probably make it work with Petal Dance and stuff. You know, it's fine. And then the last one we missed was Kangaskhan. Another normal that I've not really ever used. So let's have a quick look at its moveset. Reasonably fast physical attacker. It does get some good fighting moves. Dizzy Punch is good, not crazy. It gets Hyper Beam at 52, so it's another potential normal stab Hyper Beam user. It gets Submission at higher levels, so it's got pretty good fighting and normal. And that's about it. Doesn't really learn anything else. Mimic gives you an option to steal a move, which is kind of neat. But the rest of it is just normal fighting. That's it. The end. So, you know, I'd say it's pretty basic. Just not a lot of coverage if it's basically normal fighting, you know. And that's all of them. The only things we didn't talk about were my main team, and we've talked about them plenty, right? So I'm not really going to spend much more time on the group that we've been using the whole game, other than to say I was really disappointed that my Electrode wouldn't learn any fire moves because of the new fire type. The only thing is fire that it can learn is self-destruct. So it could do a ton of stab fire damage and then take half of it back, or whatever the number is, which kind of sucks. The fact that it could learn Crab Hammer was cool, but this was probably my least used of our group because it didn't get the fire. I did try the Crystal Onyx. Pretty cool combo. Not weak to water at all, only double to grass, so it beats a lot of the standard rock ground weaknesses. I built it to be a defensive wall with the self-heal defense, stat ups, and toxic, which definitely worked, but it's not my favorite playstyle. It's definitely more of a competitive kind of style. I definitely would have thought he was better if I just went, you know, Earthquake, Spike Cannon, maybe kept Withdraw and swapped Amnesia with something else useful. I think I would have enjoyed it more that way, but it was a cool experiment, right? It can learn... I'm trying to think if it learns anything else that would be useful here. Not really all that much else. So you can probably TM something instead of Amnesia if you want to not go the special defense strat. Obviously, Seadra, Water Dragon is an incredibly strong combo. Also, really good special stat overall. Great set of moves. I'll just double check. I know I'm pretty sure I TM'd some of this stuff. Seadra... It does get Hydro Pump and all that. I taught it... It doesn't normally learn Ice Beam, so that's my addition. But Dragon Rage, Mega Drain, the water moves are all natural. So it's got like a good moveset on its own. And you can also TM some good stuff in there as well. So I thought this was maybe one of the strongest we had in our group. You know, I was trying to avoid legendaries, and its stats were pretty close to legendary. So that was pretty awesome, with very little weakness. I didn't use Mew 1 or Mew 2, there's not really much to talk about. They've got what they got. He's got the most busted stats, and if you want to do Psychic plus whatever, of course. I obviously quite enjoyed Doduo into Dotrio. We've talked about this guy lots. Early game, he was probably too strong with his great moveset and above average stats for the first half of the game. By the end of the game, the 4 times weakness to Ice and the prevalence of Swift makes him much less viable. But other than that, he's great. I wish I'd kept one priority move to counter all of the Swift users. But, you know, I didn't know that was going to be a problem. Just pull him up real quick here. Almost done. Wow, it's still over 2-hour bonus episode. And I never finished the stupid song. It's kind of frustrating. Dodrio here. Yeah, like he doesn't normally learn Sword Dance. Tri-Attack is still weird. But he's got access to, like, Drill Peck, Slash Fly, Rolling Kick, if you want a pretty good rock move, Earthquake, Drill Peck. His moveset's not the best for late game. But I found that early on, having access to Flying, early Ground, early Fighting, and Flying, even Rage for Dragon, Rolling Kick for Rock, I feel like he just always had good moves for most of the trainers in the early game. I think late game you could probably do better, sure. But definitely for when he joins, he covers so much of the enemies. Pinsir also joined pretty early. This was a surprise as well. I think I was quite happy to bring along this bug fighter. Not normally fighting type, right? This is one of those ones that's been changed. I was trying to bring most of the, well, so was the last one. You know, Firo or Dotrio was normally normal flying. So bug fighting, certainly a neat combo. Adding in fighting there, I think upgraded this guy a fair bit. He was my main psychic killer, except that he wasn't quite fast enough, right? The problem with like a lot of the strong Alakazam types were they just outsped him and then one-shot him with psychic. So his downfall was not enough speed, but anything that he was faster than, he definitely could kill. And his moveset, honestly, pretty good. I was really happy with the strong bug attack, fighting, ground, and rock. That's a pretty good physical combo. He also can learn Swords Dance if you want, so no problem there. But that's pretty much it. I've got all the normal moves he'd learn. Like, that's it. He's got the best of all those types, pretty much. That certainly helps when he's got the best moves of 4 different types. And then I think the last one is our Ninetales. And Fire Ghost, another unique combo. I definitely didn't expect much, but the stats are decent, not crazy. Decent speed. I'd say good speed and pretty good special. And our final moveset, look it up. Why could I not spell? Oh, because they spelt it without an I. Okay. Classic. Yeah, so the main advantage here is another one that learns Amnesia naturally. So great special attacker. I did obviously teach it Solar Beam because I didn't expect it to be able to learn a grass move, but that certainly helped. It normally just has like Flamethrower, Barrage for its top, and it learns Barrage and Flamethrower reasonably early, but no other fire moves, so you have to wait quite a while. And then like the problem is Vulpix is pretty bad for quite a long time until it learns Flamethrower, and if you evolve it, it's going to learn it a little bit later. So early on, this is kind of trash, and I know we caught it like level 3 or something. So it was pretty much trash for quite a while. But once it's got Flamethrower and Amnesia and Psychic and all that, it's pretty good. We swapped Psychic out eventually for Solar Beam, but it could also learn Swift. I'm pretty happy with it. Like, interesting combo. And anyway, that's the full list. If you made it through all of that, right on. That's my my little chat about all the Pokemon, and I'm done with this. Even though I didn't finish the stupid... the amazing music puzzle, that was just too difficult for me, and I'm sure there's something really cool behind it. Maybe someone in the comments will let me know what it is. But that's the end of Pokemon PureRed. My little bonus episode went on a bit longer than I expected, but I think I can satisfactorily put my Gen 1 replay behind. I've learned more about Generation 1 Pokemon than I ever knew in the past. I'm certainly not normally a big Poke nerd that spends a lot of time on this kind of game. But I had a lot of nostalgia for Pokemon Blue and Red, and this Romhack as overall was very enjoyable going back through and seeing the changes and learning new things. And I think it's probably got good replayability. If you ever want to try a Nuzlocke of this, I think if you're into Nuzlocks, this would be really good because there's a lot of variety in the Pokemon and even just the in-game options, right? Like if it's too hard, you certainly have the option of, making the trainer slightly weaker. If you don't like the extra stats or the infinite PP. But yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, future tubers. That's the end of Pokemon PureRed. I don't know if I'm going to play a lot of other Pokemon games, honestly, on the channel. I'm going to have a look for other ROM hacks for like Gen 2 and 3. And if I'm really enjoying it and maybe the videos get more views than I think they'll get, maybe I'll look into continuing the series on a bit. But I generally lose interest in Pokemon pretty quick once we're past nostalgia era. But we'll see. Anyway, that's all for now. Series done. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.